Hello and good evening to all. This is All India Educators Forum bringing you another panel discussion in front of you. And today we have 20 amazing speakers who are going to discuss on the topic multilinguistic education and resolving the learning gaps due to the pandemic. Now, you're all aware of the National Education Policy which came out in 2020. That is, with respect to the mother tongue, the education has to be streamlined in a different format, because as per study they say that when the child is small they know the mother tongue, right? And then suddenly when you come to school you start teaching them in English, so it becomes a little problematic for the child. And it also helps to develop the brains of kids, especially when you are experts in more than one language. So today we would like to know the opinion of our panelists on this, and also we'll be taking up the learning gaps that came about because of the pandemic, because this was a situation which we were not prepared, and we have been out of school for practically about 18 months right now. And certainly the online courses, many of the students are not doing it sincerely, and of course there are some technical issues. Rural areas, they don't have enough internet or electricity, so definitely there has been a learning gap. Now we are discussing how to find a solution for this, right? So today, I hope our panelists are going to discuss and share their experiences, because all of them are educators from different parts of the country. They have vast experience in their field. So I'm sure that our listeners today are going to go back enriched. So once again, I welcome all the panelists for sparing their time, and all the viewers who are a constant support to all our AIF programs. So on this note, I will introduce to you my first speaker, Ashima ma'am, who is present with us. And to tell you more about ma'am, she is actually a PGT chemistry from Mount Abu Public School, Rohini, New Delhi. So I'll invite Ashima ma'am to start off with this session.
Thank you, sir, for providing such a great opportunity. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashima Arora, as sir said. I'm PGT chemistry serving for 15 years in this field. I will be sharing my views on resolving learning gaps due to pandemic. So, learning is an ongoing process. We all already know this. So, pandemic times were a great challenge for entire education system globally. I will be discussing about various strategies and real life examples that helped in resolving learning gaps. So I want to start my discussion with a big thank you to all the teachers around the world. Lockdown was so sudden last year that teachers were not well equipped with the online teaching and learning strategies. But teachers ensured that everyone, even if the life was moving towards lockdown, but even then they ensured that learning did not stop. All teachers learned new skills so quickly in order to cover the maximum. I have a quote just to pay a tribute to all the teachers who have unlimited job hours each day, that teaching is a very noble profession that shapes the character, caliber, and future of an individual. If the people remember me as a good teacher, that will be the biggest honor for me. It was said by Dr. Abdul Kalam. Teachers are striving to make learning interesting. So, learning strategies include developing new skills in the student to research, inquire, probe, and question. So, focusing on NEP 2020 and 3Cs, that is 21st century skills, all the teachers are trying to learn new strategies for engagement and differentiations. Teachers learned new ways of assessment, such as Google Forms, online Viva, open textbook questions, MCQ, assertion reasoning, and many more questions, such as case-based questions, graphical questions. So there were many difficulties in the classes initially. I completely agree. There was poor network connection, as sir mentioned. Initially, less interest of students, strain on eyes, and but when teachers upgraded their teaching skills and used various platforms of learnings, things became easier. Understanding taking classes on Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, to the making PowerPoint presentations, videos, making worksheets online, and then conducting online practicals using Amrita O Labs, and conducting online assemblies and whatnot. Teachers did a lot of good efforts. I remember taking a lot of online trainings, CBSE trainings, such that June 2020 did not look like summer vacation. I'm sure everybody would agree with me. Though the online sessions were there, may not be similar to offline classes in terms of output, but yes, at least teachers did their best to make learning possible and ensured continuum of education. So there are various strategies that teachers used, and even they are using these days also. Still, although we are again going to offline mode somehow, and for 9th and 12th we are already offline. So teachers used various techniques in online mode of teaching, and there were four basic parameters that we have to follow in resolving such learning gaps. So the first one is meaningful interaction. While taking online mode of teaching, there must be meaningful interaction, that is relevant communication between teacher and student and student. Also, there must be active learning of students. Active learners are those students who are able to know the concepts really well, and they are able to apply them using their psychomotor skills, and for solving problem solving and for doing problem solving questions. So developing higher order skills, and there must be a formative assessment. So these four parameters are really important to resolve learning gaps. So let's take an example really quick. I'm a chemistry teacher, so I would like to take an example from science. Suppose a teacher has to do a topic of changes in chemical reaction from chapter 1 chemistry class 10. She made her lesson plan. She made PPT for explaining the concepts well, and worksheet for homework. Do you think that this topic is sufficient enough? This much preparation is sufficient enough in order to do the class well? Will students be able to understand the concept well by making a lesson plan, by just having a PPT and a worksheet? What do you think? Obviously, it will help, but yes, it will not create a perfect lesson, right? So what could be the other things that a teacher can add in order to make a lesson better? So I have various strategies that we can imply. The one is, she could have demonstrated activities like change in temperature, evolution of gas, precipitate formation, change in state, and change in color. So there could be various interesting experiments that she could have performed. Or any hands-on activities she could have done other than doing PPT to make the lesson more interesting. Then there could be follow-up worksheet to analyze the students' learning. Then there could be debate questions. So there could be debate question initially by using Kahoot.com. That's a wonderful platform for debate, for creating debate questions, where there could be for the motion and against the motion. Such kind of questions can be created. Then she could have shown related videos and practicals from Amrita O Labs, and then follow up with flipped classroom teaching. So there could be ample number of strategies that could have been followed. Then there could be simulations that can be shown. Analytical questions can be given using simulations. Then usually, for example, in chemistry, I use ptable.com and calcium for periodic table discussion and the trends. There could be surprise quiz, there could be experiments, hands-on activities, starter activity, research project. So many, the list is endless that we have learned as a teacher to submit that resolve that learning gaps. And then art integrated activities and experiential learning activities, they are also wonderful. They actually align with the learning of any concept. So classroom management is also equally important. Discipline, there must be proper procedures and time management. Discipline, what I mean is giving targets to student that they must complete a particular task in a given timeline. and there must be follow up for that. There must be follow up of home task and timely checking of the test. So all this collaboratively creates a better impact of a good learning environment, and also it helps in resolving those gaps which we have online. Then it is important to recapitulate the previous concepts and link them with the current syllabus. So there must be sufficient remedial classes for those students who need extra help, and focus on learning outcomes chapter wise and set examination papers accordingly. And I understand that there was a paradigm shift from offline to online, and that became the new normal, right? And now again, when we are shifting back to offline mode back again, the things will not be same as it was during offline classes. So we have to follow such strategies, which is a blended mode of learning, which should include online learnings as well and offline mode as well. And at last, I want to say that this pandemic time has upgraded teachers to next level and has made them more tech savvy. So I thank you again, all the teachers. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ashima ma'am. Being a chemistry teacher, you brought in so many, the O labs, and the children were not able to perform in a laboratory, physical laboratory. But I'm glad that certain people thought about it, that in case they don't go to the physical labs, how can we create these labs virtually, right? So I think our educationists and our government is thinking very positively in terms of the future of the kids. And since the NEP is also coming about, and it's anytime, anywhere learning, I think it's a progressive step. And I'm glad that you brought in so many personal experiences of yours, which you already shared with your students and probably did with your students. So thank you, Ashma ma'am, for sharing that. And now I'll invite my next speaker here, Deepika ma'am, who is a trainer, research and content development, and she's from Hyderabad. So it's over to you, Deepika ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Before I begin, I would definitely like to thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak my heart on multilingualism. This is a very near and dear topic to me. Hello, all.
Yes,
How are
ma'am, we
you?
can hear you. Please go
You
ahead.
can hear me, sir? Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so much.
please. Yeah.
आप कैसे हो? आपकी केमन आछे? बागोनारंडे. Isn't it beautiful that India is an amalgam of not only cultures but also languages? If you can understand this, can answer as well as comprehend it in English and answer me back, then you are nothing but a multilingual. A child speaking, switching, and understanding languages at home with friends and in the class. A teenager singing Korean pop songs. An adult, you and I, speaking and understanding more than one language is nothing but a mere example of multilingualism. It's a set of repertoire of languages along with the mother tongue that a person knows, speaks, and understands, and that too without any strain, is called multilingualism. Let me just give you a quick example. A student of class 11th just told me this. My day to day conversation goes like this: Telugu with my mother or my father, because that is my mother tongue. With my sister, it's always Hindi because they have studied in KB. And with my friends, it's always English and a mixed bag. And with my best friends, again, it's Tamil as well as English as well as Hindi, and the language is endless. This is the perfect example of multilingualism again. He also told me switching and changing languages is like donning the role of a DJ, isn't it? We mix different music numbers and we just produce an amazing number out of it. Experiences of languages and cultures come to a child at an early age, and the experiences come from people, that is, parents, relatives, and communities, places like schools and public areas, and their experiences with friends and school. The benefits of multilingualism are several. A multilingual person, like most of us, are responsible, connect to people with their peers, and very good at collaboration skills, and in turn, they become a good leader. India is said to be a multilingualist giant, and the nerve system of this giant is multilingualism, and it's huge and enormous. Multilingualism in India is a product of history and reflection of a diverse culture. Schools play a vital role in maintaining this particular culture, and teachers are support system. The predominant use of English and mix of regional languages to make the child understand the concept is the need of the hour. The present pandemic, as Ashima ma'am rightly said, it has just toppled education, learning, and teaching upside down. With online schooling, the students use multilingual set of languages to teach the students. And this has decreased rampantly because they are no longer in school, and their set of communication with their peers is totally nil. The learner's mindset, as we all know, is dangling, and the online attendance, well, I don't have to tell you all if you belong to that category. Between Zoom, WhatsApp, YouTube, Prime, Netflix, Facebook, and many other social media platforms, the opportunities to communicate with their peer one on one and their relatives is restrained and changing rapidly. The essential 21st century skills and the interpersonal communication and the future of the country is definitely lost somewhere. The educator's role has taken a different avatar, isn't it, Ashima ma'am? You just now mentioned that we have just used different kind of sets, and we are doing multitasking, but the multitasking has now taken an infinite tasks attached to it. Teachers definitely play a crucial role in understanding how children function, feel, and understand, and infer the content which is presented in their book. The interpersonal skill, the cultural and the social and the political empathy, and not only understanding the content but also understanding the complex values and emotions attached to it. Teachers, especially all of us who belong to non English native countries, are to be given due credits, and we are to be celebrated for our hard work and determination which we have put before and after COVID. Now, with the present pandemic, the parents have donned the role of educators, and now they have understood that how difficult it is to maintain a child and maintain his education balance at home. I hope all of you agree on this. But this is again called out for a serious problem again because most of the parents are not that good at understanding English as a skill set. The present pandemic calls out educators and the policy makers like NEP 2021 and 2020 and 2021 calls out for the role of regional languages to be imparted in education. The educators and policy makers should definitely come forward and look into this matter seriously. I just ask all of us a question. Is it loss or rebirth of educators? It depends, isn't it, on all of us? Again, resources in local languages to have parents' collaboration and ease in imparting knowledge could be one of the best ways to resolve learning gaps during pandemic. I remember one of the students of class 10th last year batch was asking me this question, ma'am, how do we deal with certain concepts in English, not only in English, but in other subjects? Because we are not affluent with the way you teach or with the concepts because our education was totally different. There comes the role of regional languages. Multilingualism is definitely needs to be celebrated, as well as the teacher needs to be saluted for it. I really appreciate the noble efforts of Matthew sir as well as AIEF to start a statewide initiative and collaboration to make education and technology accessible at regional level. Multilingual, because we belong to a multilingual country with several languages, it definitely needs to be revered and celebrated. Let's not get stuck to that Anglo bubble, which we all so-called go after and seek and really revert to it. English definitely is the language because it's a global language, but it needs to become the support language along with our own native and regional languages to make the child, parent, and community understand and safeguard the set of beauty of communication, which India is definitely known for. I would like to thank you all and end my session quoting Mandela. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. But if you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. So let us talk to children's hearts, not their minds. Children are geniuses. So let's use that multilingual genius. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Deepika ma'am. It was a pleasure listening to you from the beginning to the end. Amazing content. And I really like that statement that India is a multilinguistic giant. How true is that? Uh, we are of diverse cultures. You just travel 50 kilometers, the dialect changes, right? And it's there's so much of variety and dialect, and yet that's the beauty of your country, actually. And if our government is promoting a multilinguistic education, as you said, we have to connect to the hearts, right? So you summed up the whole thing beautifully, and I'm glad that you also brought up the AIF initiative of starting the multilinguistic, the groups. We are going to start in 8 languages from next month:
Yes.
Malayalam, Tamil, Kannada, Punjabi, Marathi, Hindi, Kannada, and so on. We'll start with this and let's see how it goes. So we are taking a step forward in that, because we know that we want to reach the hearts of people, right? So when I listen to some people in my mother tongue, I'll feel more happy. I may understand a little bit of English if I'm in a rural area, or I may be able to read. But at the same time, when I listen to someone who is speaking in my language, I'll feel more connected. So thank you, Deepika ma'am. Amazing content, and I'm sure our listeners are taking back something very solid today. Thank you. Next, I'm going to invite Harshada ma'am. Harshada Pawar ma'am is a science teacher, and she is from Maharashtra. So our panel itself is from different states, and that's the beauty of All India Educators Forum. We are not restricted to any state or any particular region. It's from let's say Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and we are also having educators, global educators teaching in CBSE schools in Nigeria, in Kuwait, in the Gulf region. So thank you so much, Harshada ma'am, for coming. And as I said, she's a science educator from Maharashtra. So it's over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, so video seems a little frozen now. This is also another issue, okay? When we are using technology, this becomes an issue. So it's nothing to worry. She will join back soon. So as and when it is possible for us, for her to join. So what we are going to do is we'll wait for a few seconds and see whether she's able to join us. If she's not, yes, she's back. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, sir. Good
No
evening.
problem. There's
So,
this is not in our hands. Yes.
firstly, sir, I would like to thank you to provide this platform. Uh, Today, I'm going to talk on the topic multilinguistic education. As ma'am said, yes, India is a multilingual country, and we have schools where there are classrooms where the children come from different languages, right? So, what happens here is for each and every child to get involved equally into the classroom, what is needed, that the child should understand, the child should get engaged into the what teacher is telling, what teacher is talking. So it needs something, and that something is what it is: multilinguistic education that has to be introduced in the class. So basically, how it is going to help the children? So basically what happens is, the passive learners in the classroom become active when they are involved in their home languages. So they are able to get engaged, they are able to share their views. Then secondly, the learner is able to share his knowledge, what prior knowledge he is having, he is able to share that prior knowledge. At the same time, uh, the children, uh, they find their confidence boosted due to this multilinguistic education. So what happens here is, the children, they get an environment uh, where they can discuss their ideas. Now, what are the ways that can be implemented in the classroom to engage all the children? So I would introduce simple 4 methods that I think are useful, like word wall, wherein the school language can be introduced on the wall, and the children from the children with different languages can write their own languages. So that what happens is, all the class children will be able to understand, and they will also learn new language in the classroom. Secondly, the teacher can create multilinguistic dictionaries. So she can provide them with a school language, and then the children can write their own words in that. So what will happen is the children will positively get engaged in this activity. And then labels, simple, very simple labels, like in the classroom we have different things, so table, chair, so teacher can just label them, and the children can write in different colors, like different colors, and in their own languages. So what will happen is it will be visible to everyone, and then children will learn more and more. I would say the communication skills of the children will be enhanced due to this. And lastly, I would say we can also simply by greeting, like the teacher can greet the children in the morning in their school language. It can be English, Hindi medium, whatever it is. And then in the evening, we can give the students permission to greet in their own home languages. So this is what multilinguistic education can involve, and this will give the students an opportunity to engage, increase their communication skills. Then it will also uh, help them to increase their confidence. At the same time, they will not feel that their language is lost somewhere. They will feel connected, more and more connected to their class. They will feel more and more connected to the school. What happens is, if the child is not understanding what this teacher is telling, or what is going on in the class, slowly the child get disengaged from the class, from the content that is being taught. But if you give opportunity to the children to engage, to speak in his own home languages, just for an activity purpose, then it will definitely give us the students who are with, like, bright ideas. It happens that there are some children in our classrooms who are very brilliant, who have bright ideas, but just because of the language barrier, they are not able to come in front and talk, right? So in this case, we can through few small activities in the classroom, we can give them opportunities to open up, we can give them opportunities to speak out, and maybe we can get something very bright and discover talents in our classroom. So summing up, like coming to the end, I would say that multilinguistic education is uh, it what happens here is the diversity in the classroom is respected because of multilinguistic education. Each child is felt that yes, uh, feels respected. Secondly, it also helps the students to achieve their uh, self-esteem, confidence, and their potential can be brought up. That's what I think. uh, I'll
Thank
I
you.
will end,
Thank
and
you.
thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Arshada. So it's a beautifully put up. Actually, I was just when she was Harshada ma'am was telling about this, I was just visualizing I going into the classroom, and when I speak in English, actually it's little it's not connected in the sense that I during invigilation time I have seen many students coming and asking, sir, what is the meaning of this question? Question ही समझ में नहीं आता है, you see. So how will they answer? So then we try to. I am in Delhi, so then we talk to explain to them in Hindi. They are able to understand. So if I'm talking about this situation in every state, probably if they're able to understand that question, the child knows the answer. But unfortunately, English is not their strong point. So that's not the child's fault, right? The knowledge is important, the language is not. So our books, our reference, all the internet stuff, everything is in English, and we have a long way to go to develop our multilinguistic culture and languages. But I'm sure as educators, we'll be very happy to go into our classroom and speak in the mother tongue of the and connect with the students. It's like speaking in the house itself. You're not going to school and speaking a separate language. So, Harshada ma'am, thank you for bringing in your emotions, your experience in multilinguistic education. And I'm glad so many educators are sharing on this topic because I'm sure it's something close to their heart. That's why it's coming out. Thank you so much, Harshada ma'am. So, next I'm going to invite Jayanti ma'am. Jayanti ma'am, I'm just going to put her on the stream. Just 1 second. Yeah. So Jayanti Rajgopalan ma'am is PGT, head of the department Humanities and Social Science, and coordinator in collaborative activity. And she is joining us from Qatar, DPS Modern Indian School. So as I said, we don't not only are having teachers from India. She is an Indian definitely, but she is an Indian working in Qatar. So I'm glad that she has joined us from there. And I invite Jayanti ma'am to share her opinion on the topics that we have selected for the day. Jayanti ma'am, can you hear us, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Please
Hello,
go
good
ahead.
evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir, I can hear. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I think you go ahead, ma'am. Let's see how it works. We are able to hear
Yes,
you.
ma'am, you are audible. You are audible.
Yeah. Start, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Only video is not.
No problem. No problem, ma'am.
Only
You go
video
ahead.
is not there. Okay.
Yeah, problem. No
Anyway,
problem. Start, ma'am.
good evening, Matthew, sir. And good evening to all educators. I'm Mrs. Jayanti Rajgopalan, joining from Qatar. I'm very happy to be here. Associate with Okay, sir. Okay. I'm so happy to be here and associate with Educators Forum. The topic which I prefer is resolving learning gaps due to pandemic. Hence, okay, sir. Only video problem, I guess, sir.
Ma'am, you please keep on speaking. We are able to understand you.
So, the topic which
Okay, I think she's having some network issues, so she is unable to join. So we'll be coming back to Jayanti ma'am shortly. I hope her network improves at that time. So we'll just wait for a few seconds, and if she is unable to join us, we'll be going to our next speaker, right? So she's joining from Qatar, and sometimes when we watch this news and all that, we see only the picture of that person, and then the audio keeps playing. So that was what was happening. So we are just going to try to bring ma'am from Qatar once more, and yeah. So ma'am, if you try speaking.
video is not on. Yes, sir. Am I audible now?
Ma'am, you speak. We are able
Sir,
to hear
am I
you.
audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, continue. Gap 1, that reading and writing habits. There is a gap between because of the pandemic situation, the students, they have lost the reading and writing students into the reading and writing habits. It can be adopted in a fun learning way also. That depends with their subjects level. Gap 2, my feeling, and the discipline issues. During online teaching method, in general, lack of discipline issues were there, like having proper attire and attention, and all the family members may be gathered around. So I'm feeling that I'm not teaching only the students, I'm teaching to the it looks like apparently teaching to known and unknown people. Earlier, to come to school, but now the teacher is reaching to their home. This resulting discipline issues. It can be resolved only by the stakeholders to the maximum. Gap 3, where I feel The personal touch and the interaction is missing. So, in my teaching class, I used to give last 5 minutes to have their personal discussion and their observations with me, where they felt comfortable and comfortable. By this way, a disconnect turned out to be for the emotional feelings and or they are missing it. During this pandemic period, family members where they could not travel either domestically or internationally. Consequently, the people they faced a depression. So I tried to reach and communicate with them to extend my moral support by sending messages and keep talking to them continuously, which they felt that they are feeling that taken care much. Gap 5, missing formal education system, especially with low achievers and the students. Z. These students they could not get any amount of special attention because of this pandemic situation. So I'm calling them during my free time and their tasks by the way of simple key answers to practice and giving them homework and assignments. I'm handling the higher classes, giving the same. But at the same time, in other grade levels, they can give the kind of revision and homework can be given in the form of fun learning method, storytelling and farm. My gap 6 where I felt academic results and the performances. During the pandemic period, the examinations were conducted through online. Based on their performance, we could not. So, continuously keep monitoring the students through their assessment, which help them to improve their level best. Might be my last observation. Collaborative atmosphere in the classroom in group activities, kind of project work. This will help them to develop their multi skills like team spirit.
Yeah, I think she's lost her connection. We'll try to get you back, ma'am. So I think the connection is very poor. So we were not able to hear what ma'am is saying, but just we'll have some probably the next speaker. And if her connection improves, probably we'll try to bring her back. So, so I'm going to invite our next speaker, Jyoti ma'am. She's already here with us. Jyoti Gupta ma'am is the head of the department Mathematics, JKG International School in Indirapuram. So I'll invite Jyoti ma'am, and if Jayanti ma'am is able to join us back, then we will be adding her back. Jyoti ma'am, you can unmute yourself and start.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, educators, panelists. I am Jyoti Gupta. I am working as a HOD Mathematics in JKG International School. Today, we will discuss about the multilinguistic education. As Harshada ma'am and Deepika ma'am has told about that, I will focus about the benefits of the multilinguistic education. First of all, to have another language is to possess a second soul. Every country is a multicultural. There exists a strong motivation to maintain one's culture and language. First of all, I will tell you one thing. It has two forms. Multilingual has two forms. One is to have the language function in society, such as playing a specific role, or some nations have more than one official language, and while other languages are used as a social context. Second is individual multilingualism or a person's ability to communicate in different language in different settings. Language can be learned in two methods. One is that one when the student when any person goes to the place and there they decide and learn the language. And the second is they decide at their hobby. Like I am now I as I have chosen today this program. In my mind came the idea I will learn some other language also. What is the as sir told, when we give the invigilation duty, the student asks about the meaning of the question. Sometimes student ask the Hindi question paper also, what is the meaning of this Hindi word. I got very much surprised sometimes ki why the student is not able to Hindi also. One thing, as you know, all major schools are going British Council in their school. They collaborate their programs with international schools also. You know, globalization is occurring at a fast pace. Need to acquire a second or third language become necessity of today's scenario. A person knowing more or two language. I want to give the idea of the multilinguistic also. It is the combination of two words, that is multi and lingua. Multi means many and lingua is language. A speaker who knows about two or more language and he is very much proficient in speaking or may not be writing in speaking, then I can say it is a multilinguistic person. Now, I will focus on the benefit of the multilingualistic education. Like we see every year, so many students from the rural areas got IIT admissions, got admission in the higher studies, and they go abroad for the higher studies or for the jobs also. They face very much difficulty to cope up with their place. If they know their language in the childhood, they will not they cope up because they are good at academics. But if they will if they would learn these languages in the childhood or in their academics, they will not feel so much difficulty at their level. Now the ability of the people to the if the students know other languages, so they will get the ability to make new friends, not only at the local level, they can make the friends in the global level also. A person requires the knowledge, not only learn the language, but they also learn their culture also. When I will give some example, a person who resides in India and go to the other country, and he or she will speak in their country, so one respect will be there about her or his. They know about their culture. They Though we may not be we may not need second or third language in the ability in communication, we may use it to show the respect when we are going to abroad speaking a foreign language. The main benefits of the of learning the foreign languages is develop an appreciation for other. Second, being a better problem solver. They can be they can be a good learner for other languages also. They can be a good listener also. One thing I want to discuss, that every language has only two things. One is the alphabets and their grammar. If the student learn any other language, it is very easy to learn any language. Like in the computers, if I know any language of computer, basic commands are same, only the syntax, only the scenarios are different. If I know the basic structure, it is not difficult to grasp any other language. Thank you, sir.
Well said, ma'am. So I agree with you completely, Jyoti ma'am, that if you know one language, it's easier to develop the others. And the best way, the kids learn so fast, isn't it? And the more exposure, I have seen a lot of people who travel a lot across India. They know 6 languages, 7 languages, right? So it's actually a blessing to know many more languages than only one or two. So when we have traveling and when we have relatives, and India being such a diverse nation, in a family itself, you have a Punjabi marrying a South Indian or a South Indian marrying someone else, and then the family itself is so diverse. And when you have kids, they learn multiple languages.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is great, actually. So what you said is, something which is very relatable. And I'm sure that in the coming years, more and more prominence is going to be given to our mother tongue, and we are going to get a lot of material, a lot of sessions, a lot of classes in our mother tongue. So thank you, Jyoti ma'am, for sharing your experience and your views. So on that note, I am going to invite our next speaker, Sonia ma'am, who's already a great resource person. She's been conducting a lot of career counseling sessions. I've watched a lot of sessions of hers, and she's a very passionate educator. So we are happy that she is with us today, and she's the founder and director of Dream Achievers. It's a nice name, ma'am. So I really like the name that you put for your organization, and she's
Thank
a
you,
career
sir.
counselor and a content writer. So I'll invite you, Sonia ma'am, to speak on the topic that you have chosen for the day.
Thank you, sir. Warm good evening to one and all today, all the co-panelists. And sir, before I start my topic today, I would like to thank you and All India Education Fraternity for giving us this opportunity and giving us this platform to express ourselves. It's really a wonderful feeling and an experience for all of us to grow and develop together. Well, my topic for the day is multilinguistic education. And most of my friends over here have already spoken lots on it. So there's hardly anything new left for me to touch on. But still, yes, when we talk about multilinguistic, it means many languages. It's multi. So when we're talking about many languages, we anyway know that India is a country with almost 20 plus official languages. We have more if we go into the remote areas or the rural areas, but 20 plus official languages we have in our country. And it is very important to understand that when we are connecting people with the regional languages, it is much easier to pass the message to them or deliver what we want to them, because it gets that much easy for them to understand. I'll just take you back to the history when our social reformers and the freedom fighters were fighting for our freedom. They started preaching and pitching things and telling us how important our freedom was to us. But there were many people who did not understand. But then, when they came out in the vernacular languages, they reached out people in the regional languages. It was much easier for the people to understand the importance of freedom and nationality. So, if the adults, if the elders are not able to connect to a new language, they are so comfortable with the regional and the vernacular language. And these are kids. We are teaching them, we are molding them. They are soft clays to us, right? We need to go up to that level and teach them. We need to understand what really comforts them. See, even multiple languages, if we say the NEP is coming up with it, but it also has two sides. If it has benefits, it will also give disadvantages, because the children will not come out of their comfort zone. So we as educators have to see the line of comfort for them. We will explain them, we will bring out the regional languages, we will teach them so that they're able to connect the concepts, learn the concepts, but parallelly we will also follow the global language of English, because English is universal. If a child is going abroad, he needs to know English because that's a prime language for him. It's a primary requirement. You need to go to any country. So it's a common language over there. So we cannot neglect English in any ways. So we need to understand that. Yes, we will teach our children in our regional languages. We will make them understand the concepts. Yes, I really appreciated the way Harshada ma'am said about making a dictionary of different languages. If I have taken spoken English batches for people who have to travel abroad, okay, due to their job opportunities or due to their student visa. So I teach them, I trained them. So when I used to train them, I used to find it very difficult because they were all from those regional community. Okay, so to bring up an English language to them was very difficult to connect with them. So what I used to do is I used to make a chart for them. Chart where I used to write the English word, then it used to be the Hindi meaning, then it used to be, for example, Gujarati, because I'm from Gujarat state. So I had many people who were from the Gujarati background. So they used to write it. And then whatever sentence I said, they used to write the same thing, English sentence in Gujarati. So it was very easy for them to understand. This is how I used to start making them learn. So they were connecting the languages over there. This is what we need to do it even with our children. We can have a flow chart. And the best part of having multilinguistic classrooms is children, we can tell them to come out with prayers in their own mother tongues. Okay, we can tell them, okay, today tomorrow for the assembly you prepare a prayer in your own mother tongue and you will sing the prayer for us in the class. We can tell the other student, okay, you tell us what is the culture of your community in your own mother tongue, express it. In this way, what will happen? They will learn multicultural also. They will learn to respect each other. There will be brotherhood and fraternity among them. These things will bring them close. They will connect together and they will have group activities. So this will help them learn from each other. So in this way, they can do wonders. Yes, but I would also like to say one thing, that in the race of learning only regional languages, do not forget that the common languages are very, very important. Because when they have to face a competitive world outside, they have to face a competitive interview or go for higher studies or job opportunities, we need to see that they are well prepared, parallelly prepared with the English and the common languages also. We can introduce new languages for them. We can bring out hobby classes for them in learning new languages. But we need to have everything in a proper ratio. We don't have to put them in a comfort zone where they cannot come out of it and regret later. I've seen many students who have been coming to school, but they're very reluctant to even participate in activities. The reason is they don't understand or follow the English language to that level because it's not the culture of their house, of the family. And even the parents are not aware of all those things. The parents are not able to speak English, but they want their children to have English education because that is the need of the hour. That is the demand today. If they have to sustain the competition, they have to learn it. So they put their children into English medium school, and then it's a very, very tough situation for them because they're not able to help the children at home. It's only what they learn from school, or then they have to forcibly put them into coaching classes. But today, if the child is learning something in his own mother tongue, as we say, multilinguistic education is first language, first education. So when we are connecting that particular concept of any subject, any topic in their own mother tongue, they can interact with their parents at the same time for the topic. They can talk about it. And in this way, the parents will also know what the child is learning in school. And maybe the parents have not been from a background where education was that important, but slowly interacting with their kids in a very common language spoken at home, they might also enhance their knowledge, and they will be in a position where they can support their child. At least talk to them, interact with them, and get them some information in their own language. And then the child can put it in his own words. It's very easy for a child to express himself or herself in a language which they can comfortably speak. So we should always have this in mind, that multilinguistic education that the NEP is bringing in is very, very good, and we need to welcome it. But at the same time, we need to also think about the competitive situations and scenarios that the children are going to face in future. We need to prepare them based on that also. So we have to take up everything in a parallel way. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia ma'am. With your vast experience, you brought in so many dimensions. And I am sure that, as you have now closely associated after this program with AIF, you will continue taking sessions and enrich our educators. You've already joined our state group, I believe, so it's
Yes,
going
sir.
to be an asset for us. Yeah, so we are glad that you are getting associated, and I will invite all our panel members, all the people who are doing the mentorship course, especially. So do not forget that this is not the end of the, the session. They should go on, and we should reach out to more and more educators in the coming years.
This is just the beginning for us, sir. It's just a start.
Yes.
This is just
It's
a
a
start.
journey. Yeah, it's just a start.
Yes.
And we have to forge our own path, and I'm sure that you are all going to collaborate in this journey. So thank you, Sonia ma'am, for sharing your views.
Thank you, sir.
And I will now invite Kalpana ma'am, who's eagerly waiting for as a speaker, and Kalpana's Shivakumar ma'am. She's a TGT English from SRDF Vivekanand Vidyalaya, and she's joining us from Chennai today. So Kalpana ma'am, it's over to you.
Yes. Namaste to one and all present here. First of all, I would like to thank Matthew sir for this wonderful opportunity, and I would like to give my warm welcome to all my panelists. And Sonia ma'am, the words that you had given really has given me a different dimension to handle my own children, not only my class children, my own children. So I really thank you for this great session. So
Thank you, ma'am.
Going back, yes, ma'am. So the topic I have chosen today is resolving learning gaps due to pandemic. It's not only during pandemic that we have learning gaps. Even otherwise, we do have learning gaps. So we, as teachers or as educators, we had our own way because we were on one-to-one basis within a wall, within the classroom. We were able to do what we wanted to do with the children who had some gaps, and we were able to bridge that gap. But now in pandemic situation, we are in a situation where it's not 40 cameras, it's numerous cameras that is watching us. So we have to be very careful in what we speak and how we portray ourselves in the virtual platform. So I have few points where I can put forth my points here. I'm not going to elaborate on all the points. I would say that I would touch upon few areas. There are immense and lots of ways where we can bridge the gap. But basically, I'm going to just touch upon few points so that I can give more stress on those areas. First of all, I would like to give stress on the emotional uh, well-being of the child, because in pandemic situation everyone had the stress how we are going to move on in the future. It's not only adults in the family, even the children had lots of losses in their family. They had to undergo lots of untoward situations where they cannot talk about it because they were at home. They are still seeing all those things at their home front and not able to come out of the stress. So I definitely feel it's the part of the educators to definitely have few minutes of their time during their classes to talk to the children on one-to-one basis. If not one-to-one basis, they can have group chats among the children of their classes so that they can come out and speak their stress, or if they have any problem, or if not problems, they can definitely speak what they have in their mind. I would definitely like to say one particular situation here. It was a birthday of one child, and the child had lost the father recently. So the family didn't even have the time to celebrate the child's birthday. It was so bad. The moment the child saw the friends, saw the child's friends online, and she immediately cried and she said, "Today is my birthday. I'm becoming emotional." She said, "Today is my birthday, but no one is here to wish me." So that was something which I really felt, like this is a place where we have to take a upper hand and try to help the child come out of the stress. And immediately what we did was we stopped all the things what we were supposed to do, and we had activities, we played there, and we just made the total situation into a very pleasant one for the child. So I think this is something which as educators we can do to bring out the stress from the children's life. Secondly, the gap that we can see is the technical part, where most of the children come from different backgrounds. definitely some parents will not be in a situation to give the gadgets or the device that is required for them to attend the online classes. There are so many parents who were not in a situation to afford the type of device that was required for attending online classes, or even the access the resources that were available, digital resources that were available for the children. In some situations I could see that my friends just went a little ahead of the line to help the parents. They gave the mobiles that they had, which they had been using, and they gave their mobiles for them to help attend the classes. So this was one thing which I really felt that I wanted to share it with you all. Then second situation I would like to give you is the adaptability. In classroom situation, it was something different. It is one-to-one basis, 1 versus 40 or 45, whatever the class strength is going to be. It will be the educator and the children. So it was easier for them to be within the closed circuit, and they were able to access the resources they had. It was equally distributed, but now it is not so. So in such situations, what I feel is we can do something to reduce their screen time and give activities where they can reduce the screen time and be more divergent in participating with the family. Here I would like to say that I had an activity conducted for my class children when the parents get complaining that the child is viewing the screen for almost 16 to 18 hours a day. So she wanted me to do something to reduce the screen time. So I gave an activity where the children had to either shoot or audio record the activity that they were doing. Like they had to interview their parents as to what was their aim, or what was that they wanted to do in their life. Are they really doing what they are supposed to be doing, or what is it that they expect from their children? So they had time where they can spend quality of information that they can provide them. And it was more like they moved closer to their parents when doing this activity. They were able to understand what is the expectation of the parents. So this is one thing I would definitely want to vouch, that these activities will definitely bring them closer to their parents. And the next thing is the time management part, where the children have they don't have a stipulated time frame where they need to undergo or try to complete their work. Yeah, so this is what I would like to tell is the time management part is something which we have to give them to fill the gap. They have the entire week or entire month for them to complete their work, whatever they have. We need to chip in and try to give them more feedback as to what they have learned, or give them some kind of activity where they can assess themselves, a self assessment, where they can, yes, these are the things I have completed, and these are the things I will be able to complete by the coming week. So these things are very much important for time management. Next, the point I would like to stress upon is the self motivation part. Some children have more motivation from their parents for engaging themselves in the online classes, but some, they don't have enough time to motivate their children. So I would step up and give them the self motivation factor, where they themselves get motivated, like giving them some digital badges for their achievements in their classes, or in any extracurricular activities that they have done. So this gives them a little more mileage on their confidence building. And definitely they come to know about their advantage, their friends um, act that is their talents. They come to know what is it that the other fields where they can venture, and they can even have lots of research done in other fields where they have lots of interest. And when it comes to the virtual engagement part, I would definitely feel that when we have more number of children, it's little difficult to engage them virtually. But still we can group them into different uh, that is we can have them divided into different groups and make them do certain activities where they can bring about lots of inputs in the topics that they are supposed to learn. So these are the factors I would like to stress upon. And thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalpana ma'am. I'm sure you had a lot more to say, but unfortunately, we are giving 6 to 8 minutes for every speaker. But I'm sure
Yes.
in the coming months and whenever you are getting time, you will be given opportunities to conduct sessions. I'm sure there will be a lot of educators who want more information, because right now we are just tickling their funny bone. Just we are just
Yes.
giving this is just the tip of the iceberg. So there is, as we dig, there are so many resources which are available. So we are just starting the process, and I'm glad that you shared what you have experienced in your, in your dealings with the kids. So I'm happy that
Yes.
you could share this. And
Thank you. Thank you so
now,
much, sir.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Kalpana ma'am, for joining us. And now I'll have the pleasure to invite Khushbu ma'am. She's already here, and I am going to introduce her. She's a PGT Computer Science from Queen's Global International School in Delhi. So I'll invite Khushbu ma'am to express her views on the topic that we have chosen for the day.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, all. First of all, I would like to thank Matthew, sir, to provide this opportunity for all of us. Thank you so much, sir. Well, as Kalpana ma'am has already discussed, the learning gaps due to pandemic. So I am also here to discuss the same topic. Well, as we all know that this pandemic has hit hard so many lives. As we teachers, administrators, scholars, and most of the time our children. As the learning gap, first of all, I would like to clear this: the what is the learning gap? When we expect something from our children or from someone and we are not getting that, that creates a gap. Or I would like to add here, it is just an opportunity gap. When children were having their opportunity to learn, they were having one mother, like in my neighborhood, one mother was trying to teach her child. That girl is in grade first, but as pandemic hit, she was not able to go to school since nursery and then the upper nursery, right? So she was not knowing the numbers, but her mother was trying hard to tell her the addition of numbers. So if the child is not able to recognize the numbers, how can she add two numbers? So this is the main thing we have to check for the things. The children are suffering from lot, as Kalpana ma'am has discussed, and I can also feel the pain. So many children have lost so many dear ones in their families. They were suffering from so many, like corona. And online sessions were initially, they were enjoying online session. I would say my class was enjoying, but there were so many distractions because we have given the gadgets to them. The gadgets are also having in the social media websites and the online gaming. So instead of taking classes, they were busy in that. So now it is the alarming situation where we need to understand the children. First, I would like to add here, first we need to assess where our children are standing. Instead of forcing them, as we have in next month, as like I am dealing with the children for senior secondary classes, and as we have board examination, the term 1 board examination next month, so we all are forcing our children to understand the things, to prepare for the examination, but nobody are we understanding the situation of the children? So first of all we need to first of all we need to assess them, where are they standing. So assessment can be done one to one, and assessment can be done in peer groups also, like what I am doing in my classes nowadays. I think is the okay. Shall I continue? Okay, so we were talking about the learning gaps. So learning gaps can be troubles for some children. They are lagging behind, as they can see the some others our children are doing, and they are not able to discuss it. So we need to check for the students, what are the needs of the students, what standards they are not matching according to their curriculum, and first of all their emotional state. As we all know that even we teachers are also suffering. Like I could relate, like as a computer science teacher, there was a lot of responsibility on my shoulders to bridge the learning gap of children, like teachers who are not able to understand the children, who are not able to understand the students, who are not able to understand the emotional state. Okay, I just lost my connection.
Yeah, no problem, ma'am.
So
Just
when
continue.
lockdown
Yeah.
was started, so many children, like so many teachers, we have to shift directly from traditional teaching to laptops and mobiles and so many things. So traditional teaching we all are doing since so many years. But now when we talk about the online teaching, so that was a learning gap for teachers also, right? I think you all can relate with this. So we were having so many tools, we need to learn that. So now it's our duty to make them children understand, because they are having so many problems, so many concerns which we are not talking. The first is the emotional concern. So I have some tips, so I have something so that I am also doing in my class. The first one is one to one tutoring. Children, there are some children who are not able to speak in the classroom. There are so many children, they are very well in communication and they can express very well, but there are some those who never speak in the classroom. So first of all we need to check out for them, talk to them personally, we can counsel them, and we can talk, because talking in front of each and everyone, the child will not speak. Then we need to set the benchmarks and the track progresses. We need to set the benchmarks, the small goals we need to give to child. Like if he is not able to if I talk about the computer science, I teach Python. So if my child is not able to understand the data types of the Python, how can he understand the loops and the conditional statements? So first I need to make him understand the basic things of the Python. So this is the small goals that I can give to my student and track progress, for which I need to make different worksheets that is made specially for that child. And self motivation is also there. I need to convey this, that you can do it. There is a statement I always try to convey to my children, that you can do it. So speak it, I can do it. If if this is fixed in their mind, they can never look behind, right? The next is build in time for student self reflection. We need to make them aware that they should look into them, they should track their progress individually, they should track their progress personally also, what they need to achieve, what they have achieved. So they need to reflect, and in this our parents can also help. Parents are major support for children as well as teachers. If parents are supporting children emotionally, and if they are they are supporting their children, they are talking to children, because communication is very much important in these days. Now children are not in willing to communicate, they are just busy in social media and everything. They are busy, lot of they are spending lot of time in the that social media. So we need to take parents, and we need support from them also, so that they should talk, they should have the family time, so that the communication gap. Because when in my point of view, if child is facing any learning gap, there must be a communication gap between, whether it is between teacher and child, or it is between parent and child. So the communication is the most important thing. Now keep an open mind thing. If child is not able to learn something, give him a time. Let him understand gradually. Gradually he will understand. He will take, maybe he is taking more time than the other children, no issues. But we need to give a time, and we should motivate him. Then develop relationship between peers also. The peer group helps a lot children to learn more. The things which a teacher or parent sometimes fails to uh, make him understand, the peer group makes them understand very easily. So in this regard, we can have the flip teaching. What I do in my class, whatever the child is not understanding the topic, I make him understand and teach in the classroom. Maybe he is not teaching properly, maybe he is not able to teach that concept up to the mark, but at least he will teach one concept. Then if he is confident in that concept, he will never look behind for that concept. So that flip teaching helps a lot. In the end, I would like to say, we as an educators needed time during the pandemic for bridging our traditional teaching to our online teaching. So we should give time to children also. I know we are much pressurized for the examinations, the project works, practicals, but if the child is not getting the thing, so there is no use of making these things. So first we need to make them understand. Trust me, we need to make a relationship between we and the students, then only we can achieve the desired result. Thank you so much. Thank you listening for patiently. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kushbu ma'am, for sharing your views on this. And thanks to all the viewers who are constantly encouraging us, especially a big word of thanks, always like Shamla Rao ma'am, from the beginning to the end, from our first program that we did, every program she is there constantly motivating us. So there are different ways of encouraging the All India Educators Forum. One is by taking sessions, one is by, promoting the programs, one is by, doing the technical stuff. And this is another way that encouraging the speakers, right? So since Shamala ma'am has been associated with us, she has always joined our sessions and encouraging each one of you. And that's a big encouragement for me as well as the people who are speaking here. So thank you, ma'am. And so I wanted to mention that in public also. And every session she joins. So thank you for joining us today also. So thank you, Kushbu ma'am, once again. So our next speaker is having some issues in joining. I think Komlavali ma'am is not here. So I'm going to invite Manju ma'am, who is already present with us. To introduce her, she's a PGT and the head of the Department of History. And she's also the academic in charge in primary wing in Vivekanand Public School, Anand Vihar, New Delhi. So it is my privilege, and we are happy that you are here today to express your views on this. Manju ma'am, it's over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And hello to all the panelists. And again, a great thanks to Matthew, sir. He's such a great mentor, a great teacher. And of course, he has given such a beautiful platform to us today. My topic today is multilinguistic education. And as said by someone else also, that this is one topic that everyone is, taking up. But it's actually a very interesting topic, especially when I am dealing with small children, because I'm also associated with the primary wing. So multilinguistic education typically, refers to first language, as education. And schooling, if it starts with the mother tongue, it is great, because slowly and slowly we will add on to the other languages. So India being such a diverse country, that multilingualism is definitely a very important part of this diversity. In India, we have more than 1,500 languages, and out of that, 47 languages are those in which we are using as a medium of instruction. And so you have right from Kashmiri language to Punjabi language, then you have Gujarati, then down south you have Tamil, Telugu, Assamese in the east, and of course English is being very important language. Many researches have been done over the years now, whether this is the right medium of instruction for children. And let me tell you that multilingual classrooms are something which is a very growing phenomena, not only in India, because India being such a diverse country. Along with that, it's a worldwide phenomenon, because there is so much of migration going on. There is so much of global mobility going on that even outside, we find that children are, there is a need for them to, learn in their own language, native language, or regional language, or as we call it as the mother tongue. And this is something that even UNICEF or UNESCO, even they are very much, giving a very important thing to this, that yes, it's a multilinguistic education. It is very prominent nowadays, because they think that this is in this way, it is going to foster a lot of positive identities in the students. Now, as far as India is concerned, of course, you must have seen this new NEP, that is the National Education Policy. And let me tell you that it is one of the beautiful documents that has come up, because it talks about the focus that we need to put on the mother tongue, as a medium of instruction. And let me quote from the document. It says that wherever possible, the medium of instruction until at least grade 5, but preferably till grade 8 and maybe beyond, home language, or the mother tongue, or the local language, or the regional language, the child should be taught in that language. And research has also shown one thing, and that is that small children, when they are from the age of 2 to 8 years, they pick up words very quickly. They tend to learn language very, very quickly. So it helps them, in the cognitive benefits benefit also to the students. Now, once we are teaching them, or we are talking to them in this mother tongue, what is the atmosphere in the class? Well, let me tell you, it's very beautiful, because number one, the child is very happy. He's not scared to be in the class, because he's not encountering any different language, unknown language, or a language that he doesn't know. He feels more welcome over there, because he feels that this is a language that I can speak. This is a language that my mother speaks at home, or this is a language that my friends, speak at home, outside in the playground. So he feels safe. He feels that the environment is very comfortable for him, and to interact in that environment, again, it's very important for the child, because all the inhibitions go away. He's not scared any longer. There's no wall in front of him that what will I do in the class? How will I talk to my teacher? What is she going to ask? Whether I will be able to answer those questions? A small thing like, what will I say if I have to say that I want to go to the washroom? Because he's very scared. This place is unknown, especially small children. They're really scared, because they have come out of that small shell of their from home, and they've come out in a bigger school, and so the attraction is definitely there to go to the bigger school, but that the fear in the child is there. What will happen there? What will the teacher ask me? But let me tell you, if the teacher, especially if I'm talking in terms of Delhi, if I welcome the child in Hindi, aapka kya naam hai, ya aap kya kar rahe ho, aapko kya acha lagta hai, I'm sure he'll be more comfortable than I know. I tell him, okay, what is your name, or what are you doing? Come into the class. No doubt, they are. All these things are the way in which a teacher interacts. But if she speaks in the language of the child or mother tongue, and especially if we're talking in terms of Delhi Hindi, the child will be more comfortable. He'll be able to interact with her. He'll open up, and speak to her. And obviously, with this kind of atmosphere, he will be a part of all the activities that are going on in the class, because he can ask questions, he can talk to his friends, he can learn much better over here. And obviously his language is developing. And there was I don't remember, someone said that one has to learn the English language. Let me assure you, language will come itself. The English language is not difficult. I mean, once you know your language, the other languages start following immediately. There are schools in Delhi itself who have introduced English only in class 6, and they are very good. There is no difference between the children who are learning English, speaking English from class, say, nursery, or the children who are doing it from class 6. There is no difference. So language is something, if the child is comfortable in his language, he'll be comfortable in other languages as well. And once the child is comfortable in his language, what is it that is going to happen? The proficiency level is going to rise. And once this level rises, his cognitive growth is going to be there. He's going to start paying attention to what is happening around him. He's going to develop the memory, because it's not a foreign language to him. It's his own language, which he listens at home from his friends, playing with his sister, brother, cousins, or maybe his relatives, and also outside. So remembering is not a problem. New words are not difficult to remember for this child. He can pay more attention to the whatever instructions he's getting. So automatically he starts to think. Language helps the child to think, and then he starts to remember things. He starts to judge things. And along with that, he also starts to, solve the problems that come in front of him with the help of that language. So this way, it helps in his confidence. He builds up his confidence. His self-esteem is built up at the same time. And also, he's able to interact with other children. So he becomes, socially, he becomes more tolerant towards other people. At the same time, he can ask questions. He's not scared of the fact that, what am I, if I ask question, what are other people going to talk about it? Because that language is not a problem for him at all. So in the whole scenario, slowly it is, everything is building up for him. And that will end up when we find that his scholastic achievements are, very easily achieved. And that is what exactly we want. But we want in a manner, in a language that is in which he's more comfortable. So language not only becomes a resource, it also can be a strategy. For example, a teacher is teaching, because we are in Delhi, so we always talk about Hindi. But what if a teacher is teaching in Tamil language, maybe in Tamil Nadu, in some village or some remote area of Punjab somewhere. And she is teaching maybe EVS she's teaching, or maybe she's teaching mathematics. And how will she relate the things? If she speaks in the local language, if she is also she has a knowledge of the local language, easily she can make the child more comfortable and teach him so many things in his or her whatever language the child is feel comfortable. So here again we find that language becomes very easy for the child to understand any concept for that matter. So this way he's able to communicate with his class. And one very important thing that we see is the dropout rate will reduce automatically. Because the child doesn't want to go to the class because he doesn't understand what the teacher says, or he is not able to interact with other children. So Why should I don't want to go. It's a simple thing. Sometimes parents come and, sometimes it happens in my school also that they come and say the child doesn't want to come to the school. I don't know what is the problem. And usually, ma'am ne kuch bol to nahi diya, kuch kaisa to, koi ladai to nahi ho gayi, this, that. And then we realize, after we try and understand what is actually happening, we find which is the language, which is a barrier in front of him, because he cannot interact, he cannot speak, he cannot communicate his problems. So it's better backbencher ho jayenge, चुपचाप रहेंगे क्लास के अंदर, and then lastly will not come to school. All these problems will automatically get solved, and this child is actually going to blossom out, with the this language, because he's so free with this language. That is why I think this language is the teaching with the your home language or regional language or mother tongue is something that is I think it's a very beautiful concept that has come up. No doubt it was there in the previous NEP also, but this NEP they are really focusing on it. So I would say that this multilingualism is definitely going to be a really good thing that is going to come up, because it not only helps your brain to be healthy at every age, in any age for that matter, but Sonia ma'am was saying that she have children whom she's coaching for higher education or going outside. There also children will improve and get, they can get employment benefits a lot. It's even with this multilinguistic approach. And obviously child not only learns other culture, but he's also knowing his own culture, because somewhere we've lost our own culture also. So that also is the child that going to learn about his own culture with his own mother tongue. So I think finally I would say that the child is actually going to blossom with the multilinguistic approach towards the studies. Thank you so much, everybody. Sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And I think that you brought in a very important point, that the child will always feel comfortable in the freedom that you brought about. Very free to communicate in the mother tongue. And it becomes not a very formal thing. It's an informal thing. Education becomes part of an extension of home, actually. So
Yes,
the learning becomes very easy. So thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views. And we have Komalavalli ma'am, who has joined in after a lot of effort from Kerala. And I don't know whether it's raining very heavily. Normally in Kerala, we have heavy rains and the connections go all the while. And very happy to introduce her. She's been an educator for a long time, and she's an expert YouTube video maker. And we see a lot of stuff that she makes in social science. And we are glad that she's a CBSE Master Trainer in Economics, and she joins us from Kerala. And she's actually a retired teacher, and now spreading whatever knowledge she has gained over a period of time to kids and educators. So we welcome you, ma'am. It's over to you. Yes, ma'am. You can unmute yourself and speak. Komalavalli ma'am, can you hear us? I think she is not able to unmute herself. So we'll come back to you, ma'am. You just try to log in back. I think you are able to hear us, but you are not able to unmute yourself, I think. Can you hear us? Ma'am, can you hear us? Can you hear us, ma'am? I think she's not able to hear us also. Okay. So I am going to go to our next speaker, Preeti ma'am. Preeti Bhatnagar ma'am is here. And Preeti Bhatnagar ma'am is PGT Chemistry. One second, let me just see whether Komala, no, she's not able to unmute. So we'll come back to her later. Yeah, Preeti Bhatnagar ma'am, I'll invite you to start your talk. She is a PGT Chemistry from GHPS, New Delhi. Preeti Bhatnagar ma'am. Yes.
Thank you, sir, and good evening, everyone. Now, today, my topic is similar as most of them on multilingualism. So, according to me, multilingualism can promote culture. A culturally diverse child is better prepared to participate and compete at a global platform. Now, in a country where there are about 121 languages and about 270 mother tongue, the question arises that in such a diversity, in such a vast country, which language should we teach in? Can we pin down one language for our children? The first word that a child speaks is in his mother tongue, and that is the most frequently used language during his developing stages. But when the child comes to school, all of a sudden we start teaching them in English, and most of the children are initially not very comfortable in this language. They are not able to freely communicate with the teacher in this language. I can recall when my son was very small, at times before going to school, he would ask me to translate a few sentences in English so that he may convey the message to his teacher. I do not know how much he could remember by the time he reaches school, but I think that was the only option he had at that time because they were not allowed to speak any other language except English. I understand the importance of English to link with people in India and internationally. But at the same time, according to me, schooling should start with the mother tongue and a gradual transition to another languages. Our new education policy also emphasizes on this that at least in the primary stage, schooling should be in the mother tongue. Now, suppose a primary teacher wants to teach about marigold. The child cannot reconnect about which flower the teacher is saying. But the moment the teacher says, now today we'll study about marigold, which is also called genda, that is the common name of the flower in North India, the child can reconnect to it. And spontaneous response from a child will be, ma'am, हमारे घर में गेंदे का plant है. The other will say, ma'am, ये yellow color का होता है. The third will come up with some other thing, ma'am, हमें rose ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है. The main aim is that the child can understand about what the teacher is going to teach. That will give a better understanding and that will be a better memory also. Not even in the junior kids. We have seen that in senior classes also, at times, most of the concepts, the technical concepts, we have to explain in the regional languages. Now, being a PGT chemistry, I have to go to other schools to take the practical exams also. During the Viva, I have observed, even a very reputed schools where the children are very fluent in English, they ask me, ma'am, क्या इसका आंसर हिंदी में दे दें? And when allowed, believe me, they are able to explain the concept so well because they are very comfortable in that language. So that means that expressing their views in the regional language, the children are more comfortable, may they be a small kid or maybe a grown kid. Similarly, while teaching structure of atom in one of my classes, when I realized that the children were not able to understand the concept very clearly, because that is an imaginary concept. A child cannot see the atom, leave apart the subatomic particles. So the child were not able to imagine what I was teaching. So I correlated it with the solar system. I told them, बिल्कुल जैसे हमारे planet के center में sun होता है, sun के चारों तरफ imaginary elliptical path में planets rotate करते हैं, exactly is the structure of atom. Center में nucleus है और उसके चारों तरफ एक imaginary path में electrons are rotating. जैसे planets आपस में collide नहीं करते हैं, exactly in the same way the electrons cannot collide with each other. So the students were able to correlate it with their previous knowledge. And hence, the teaching became simpler for them. And as a mother, most of us have been teaching our children in the regional languages. When they are small, a child cannot understand a concept. Though in school, we were using the school language, generally English, but at home, while teaching our children, we have been using the regional language. Like my son, when he was small, he was not able to remember the name of Shri Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Now that maybe it's a very lengthy name for a small kid. So I just tried to translate it in Hindi. Yes, a name translated in a regional language. I told him Bal, meaning hair, Ganga, that is the river, Dhar, keep it down, and Tilak. So these were the will, and he quickly remembered it. That is Bal, Ganga, Dhar, and Tilak. So if these things are converted into simpler languages, the child is able to understand. So teaching in the regional language will be a building stone for a strong building stone for a child, and which will help it to higher education. Once the base is strong, the further higher education will become simple. Now, on one hand, learning in native language helps in better understanding. It builds a strong foundation for higher education. It enhances the academic performance and it builds confidence in this child. But at the same time, we cannot deny the importance of other languages also. Like I said, that English helps us to communicate nationally and internationally. So, similarly, the knowledge of other languages, if it is given, it will give access to more than one culture. It will help us, the child, to communicate with more people in another region. A greater awareness will be there. It will boost the creativity and give a competitive edge in today's job. In today's scenario, where it is so tough to get a job after the education, this multilingual approach, a knowledge of more than one language, will be of great importance. So, seeing the importance of multilingual education and the knowledge of more than one language, the parents and teachers should encourage the child to learn more than one language. But again, at the same time, the child should not be forced to learn a particular language. We can give them the options, we can tell them the pros and cons, and let the child be in whichever language he is comfortable to go ahead with those languages. And besides this, at the same time, teachers should also be trained to structure multilingual classes. They should be known that while teaching, when, why, and how to switch from school language to home language. And that should be supported by teaching material, and the classroom should be interactive. So, this we have seen that as important as the native language is there in the initial stage, slowly and gradually knowing other languages is equally important. And that is the concept of multilingual education. So, just finally, I'll end with a note that the aim is to enhance the skill in every child. And multilingual education is the most important and effective method to do so. Thanks a lot. And thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you, Priti ma'am, for sharing your views on this. And I'm glad that when we were given a choice, I was thinking that many of you will start speaking on the learning gaps. But it's a surprise for me that multilingual education has been chosen by most educators. And that means it is something which resonates with everyone. And so many opinions are coming out, and it is based on your experience and what you felt from the heart. So thank you, Priti ma'am, for giving your viewpoints on this. I will now invite Preeti Mehrotra ma'am. Preeti Mehrotra ma'am has already taken some sessions for us. She is taken a career counseling session for the students as well. She is an international certified career coach, and she is joining us today from Bhopal.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So already my topic is resolving learning gaps due to pandemic. Already Kalpana ma'am and Kushbu ma'am has already spoke a lot about it. And I'll be just reframing it that learning gap. So first of all, we need to understand the learning gap. And learning gap is something that we think that till one level or that particular level, a child should learn that much. Like for an example, like grade 3 or 4th grade child must know reading and writing, and if he or she is not able to do that, then that is called as a learning gap. So we all know that this global outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic has spread worldwide and has really affected trillions of students, and because of the closure of the schools. So I will be just telling my experiences. I know everybody is until now aware about that how this online classes are progressing and how they are working. We have Zoom, we have Google Meet, we have MOOC and Padlet, where children are engaged in one or the other kind of learning. First of all, I am very much concerned about the remote learning because though the private schools, which are like in Bhopal, we in the school which I was teaching, I was in the teaching area also earlier, and last year only I quit from there and full-fledgedly started my career coaching. So I am having a good experience of this online classes also, how we took it as. But it was really challenged that the remote children still they are still in a and they are still affected by it, and the learning gap is really much over there. And I feel glad on one point that now the parents, like whether they are from the poor background or from the rich background, they are concerned about their child education. So now they are like my maid who is coming for this house chores. She has also provided the gadgets to the student, and they are saving for their children, and they are providing the gadgets to them, so that there should not be any learning gap. So this is something which tell us that now it's not the previous India where the education has not been given importance. Now parents are understanding the importance of education, and that is why they are more concerned about it. Now coming to the learning gaps and how it can be resolved. So the areas where I have worked on. So first of all, which Khushbu ma'am said that about the flip classes, even I have introduced that flip class, and that has brought a tremendous change in the attending of the classes. Like children were interested in, they were interested in explaining the concept, so they were initiating they are volunteering for that ma'am, I want to take this class, I want to take this class. So we have scheduled the entire class into it, and I have allotted the topics to them, so they are very enthusiastic to take the class because they are representing as a teacher, so they are always excited for it. So this is something which really worked for my class to make the student engage, because in the online class we all are taking online classes, but the important part was that how to engage the student for that 45 minutes. So one thing which I means we worked on, that is in timetable. So timetable we have scheduled in a way where there is in the same way the breaks where we were having in the school. So after every class there will be a 10 or 15 minutes gap, so that a child is relaxed and off screen from there, and really means have gone to visited the washroom or taken the water, or if he is hungry so he can take that and then again come back to it and little bit energetic to take the another class. So this was something the second part we have I have done in my class. One thing which Kalpana ma'am shared, that was birthday, and I really touched that part really touched me, because the same scenario I was also encountered in my class. There was one boy who was very shy, means in the physical classes he never introduced or he never talk to anyone, and he was in my class. So I have taught in the previous classes also, so I was much familiar with that boy. So I intentionally keep on announcing his name or asking him to clear his doubt or asking him to explain this. So he became very familiar to me. And then his birthday, next day was his birthday, and he said, ma'am, I was a class teacher of that class. So he said, ma'am, after and I have kept one thing, that after the class they can talk to me 10 to 20 minutes. I spared that time and they can talk anything to me. So he came to me, ma'am, my birthday is there tomorrow, and there is no one, because my dadaji and dadiji is admitted in a hospital, and so there is no one. So I kept the virtual birthdays, and from that day we started celebrating the virtual birthdays. And I am not the one who is giving the responsibility. My kids automatically started taking the responsibilities. Few will make the cards, few started making the means how the background to be, and music play. They started showcase their talent. So some started playing the guitar or piano, and they sang the started means like birthday songs and all. So this has made the class very interactive, and they were ready, means after this they are ready to take the class, academic class also. So they were enthusiastic always to take the class. That at the last, when I start my class, it was always with the music. So and some title on every day to that particular child. They have to give that title when they are marking the attendance. So they have to write like their favorite color or their favorite subject, or today what they did, something they have to write with that name or some adjective. So it was always interactive when they join, and at the last I always keep a 5 or 10 minutes game. So till last they are engaged. So this is something how I involved, and they are ready to take the concept also, because they knew that at last they are going to enjoy, or they will be playing some game. I also divided my class for the debates and all. So this has also engaged the children to participate in the means for, or they are always enthusiastic for the another activity. So like as I was also the social science teacher, so there was an civilizations that they have to teach about the civilization, so they have showcased a different culture, different civilizations through their art. So whatever the items they have, so they have decorated it or they have showcased that thing. So in this manner the learning, it is not only the academic part, only the bookish language they are learning, but they are coming up with a research work and they are telling something to the other peers. And it was a session called as a 5 minutes what you know different. So they have to tell something different what others are not aware of. So in this way they do the research work a lot. So this is how the learning gap I have tried to fill. But yes, it is a need that we need to think over, that how we can reach to the children, those who are in the remote areas where they are no, means still they are struggling for the smartphones and all. So I especially have preferred the podcast, that if we give the podcast, so they can be the voice messages sort of like, or podcast they can listen without anywhere when they feel like. And in the career, when I have taken this career coaching, so I feel like the technology has advanced, but it should always be tackled with a human interaction. So if we are interacting a technology with a human and there's a human touch in it, then definitely we can fill that gap. Right now what is happening, the children are really emotionally weak, and they are not able, they are confined in their homes and they are not able to tell their problems at what they are facing. Maybe the parents are forcing to attend the classes, but the child is not ready to attend the classes. Now it's a monotonous routine for them that they are getting up. Still in my Bhopal, many schools are still going on the online basis only. Still they have not opened, or the parents have not given the consent for it. So it's a monotonous for them. So how we can engage more? So it is, I think, if we give a more human interaction to it, if we give more increasing time, learning time to it, so then in this manner, because now the traveling is not there, so in this manner I think the learning gap more we can resolve, or means, and we can fill this gap. There should not be any child left with any of the learning gap. So this is my viewpoint, all from my heart. I haven't much prepared for it. I hope I have touched the important points. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. You covered all the points actually. So without realizing, probably because you've been into sessions, so you have a lot of information. You have dealt with so many kids, and you have given counsel them. I believe before this session also you had a session. So
Yeah.
you are having multiple sessions. So you are a very busy person. So I am sure that with your experience, we will be able to guide our students better in the coming days, coming months, and we'll work together. So we have Komlavali ma'am finally here, joining us from Kerala. So I'm just giving her the chance. She missed her chance earlier. So before her network goes, ma'am, you are requested to whatever you have prepared on whichever topic, you are free to express your opinion. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Good evening, all of you. I'm happy to join this platform. Sir has given us this great platform for us. We are grateful to you, sir. Today I have selected the position as multilingual education. Several of our panel members talked about it, multilingual education. As it is concerned with the language, I want to tell about the language, what about the language is concerned. So regarding the child's achievement, how the child is developing language, it depends upon three major things. One is what about the parents surrounding, and second one is what about the school environment, the teacher environment, or the institutional environment, and third one is the government policy. So about the first one is parents' environment. What about what language the parents are talking? The same language the children will also absorb. That is a major thing. That is a mother tongue. That is the importance of mother tongue. What we talk about it. And when we say about a language, 4 important skills we should have. One is the what the child is listening first. that listening may be converted into as speaking. So child first listens, then speaks, then after all going to a formal education, most often it comes as reading and writing. So 4 important skills as multilinguistic concern, education is concerned. Majority of the points, majority of the educators talked about it. So listening, speaking, then reading and writing. These are the 4 skills we needed. And the environment, home environment is very important. So what is the mother tongue of the parents, and or sometimes instead of mother tongue, the parents will be talking some home language they may be using, or some other local language they may be using. This is influencing a child's learning. And so we know that we have these years, that is in multilingual language is an important skill of 21st century. When the 21st century we are entering, you know that UNO also talked about it, that is Sustainable Development Goals of 4, that is regarding equitable education to all and justifiable. And also we can see that all of them should given the opportunities, opportunity for learning, irrespective of the age. So the same thing we can see in the multilingual language also. What is the basic thing is that when a child is learning, first we have to give preference to the mother tongue, first language, and this based on the first language, education should be started. So education is based on the mother tongue. That is what the child is knowing. From that knowledge, based on that language, we can see that education should be continued. So according to the multilingual education, we can see that it is based on mother tongue base, that is MTB. So MTB is connected to MLA, that is that is mother tongue based education leading to multilingual education. And in India, about 6,661 languages are there in India as mother tongues, and 22 languages, scheduled languages that we know already. And so when a child is sent to the school, we can understand that only if the child is knowing about the mother tongue, what will do? What is the official language of the school? What about the authority speaks about, the teacher speaks about, the teachers speak about, that the child will not be understanding. So first of all, the teaching should be given the mother tongue or the regional language or the home language. And after all, while the child is given higher education, the learning further improves, you know, that other languages should be taught. So that is about the environment, regarding home environment. Is second one I told you regarding the teacher environment or the institutional environment. And the third one is government policy. Whatever the government policy is concerned, what we have to give emphasis on. Before that multilinguistic approach, we have to see that what will happen regarding monolingual. Suppose most often the multilinguistic approaches are that is obstacle, that is it is hurdle. We can see always hurdle that people are always thinking about the monolinguistic basis. Monolinguistic basis is an obstacle towards obstacle about the multilingual languages. What is a monolingual? You know that they don't want to study other languages, but while we take into account our biological linguistic potential, we can see that we can study several languages. We can study several languages. And so we should not waste the language potential, that is the biological potential we should protect, and we can learn different languages. Why we learn different languages? How? Why? What is the reason? You know that while we are moving from one state to another state or one district to another state, most often the languages are depending upon the place, culture, people. That way languages will change. So when the languages are changing, we know that we should be adaptive. So language is related to history, historical approach, history. What is the history of the person? Where he comes from? And it is also related to geographical also. So local languages are very important. So multilinguistic approach is very important. It is very important. So we should move away from monolingual. We don't think that I know only one language. When we are having more languages, we will have more connection, more acknowledgement, more identity, more value, like that. More and more higher options, higher horizons we are reaching there. And so coming to this topic, when I say that this is the 21st century. This is a 21st century skill. Along with we have learned the experiential learning, the art integrated learning, several things the CBSE has accumulated. Not only the CBSE, other boards also, other state boards also. So when we talk about these language is very, very important. Earlier, we had to compel. Now I'm sorry to say that we were compelled to tell the children speak so and so, like that. But anyway, the situation has changed. Children started to study in mother tongue, started to study. So according to the new education policy 2020, that is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, what it is emphasizing, that is from third year to eighth, third-year-old child to 8 year. That the preschooling stage from 3 to 5, the 3 to 6, that 3 years. Anyway, not 3 years only, up to 8 years, free. The education should be given on the basis of mother tongue only. Mother tongue based education should be given. And further, if it is also preferably, it should be gone beyond the 11th that is up to the 0 to 8 years, means that up to the second standard. But after all, also that we can probably continue up to fifth grade. Fifth grade it can be, and after all also it should be continued. It is preferably, and after the 8th standard, if it is possible, you can see that we can move to other languages. So what is the basic thing regarding this? That study in our own language, mother tongue based MTB, mother tongue based MLE. MLE means multilingual education. So that will promote learning in a pakka way. That will give the emphasize. That is the basic foundation of what the child has acquired, what the knowledge he has acquired. After understanding in his own mother tongue or her own mother tongue or its own mother tongue, we are understanding it more with more dimensions. Language is not an important thing. Vocabulary is not important. First, cognitive development. What about the cognitive development? Cognitive development can be done through languages, that only. So language is not the important thing, but how the child is learning. So in order to give a particular learning development, that the language is playing an important role. That is the thing. So anyway, here first some of them said that regarding language, when we are talking language, that is according to Nelson Mandela, if you are talking others language, they can understand, that whatever we talk, that will go to his head. And if you are talking to them in their mother tongue or in their own languages, it will go to their heart. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. This is my words about multilingual languages. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We could see your passions overflowing. So although we had little bit of hiccups in the beginning, but you made up for that, right? So the 10 minutes that was allotted to you, there was a lot of fire, there was a lot of water, all the elements you put in. So I'm glad that you are associated with the state group of Kerala. So we are launching it in a big way, and ma'am is going to help us with her vast knowledge. She is an expert in social science, and with her vast knowledge, I'm sure that we are going to have a good launch in Kerala on 21st November. So thank you for joining us on this discussion.
Thank you, all of you, all of the educators. All the viewers. Also, I'm telling you, I'm so grateful to you. You are supporting me a lot in our social science group 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, like that. Anyway, thanks a lot.
So we have got 8 social groups, social studies groups. So right now, we are having about 2,000 social science teachers associated with all
Sir,
India
you have
educators.
added me. How many socialist group I am having? No. Thanks. That is the thing. I don't know. I don't know. And after all, I become the core
So
mentor also. And now in
the
the
good work that we
Kerala group
keep
also.
doing, the more
Thanks a
good
lot.
work we keep doing, the more people will join us. So it's all spreads by word of mouth. So thank you, ma'am, for getting associated, and glad that you finally resolved all the technical issues and you could join us
No,
for.
the laptop, sir, the laptop, you know that it is not working like that. It is,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could
no
not
problem.
enter the video, enter the studio.
Yeah, yeah. So fine. So
Thanks.
anyway, it's okay that you joined. So we have now Preeti Saraswat ma'am, who's been waiting very eagerly for a long time, and she is PGT English from Radiant Academy, Noida. So Preeti ma'am, without wasting much more time, I'll just hand over the proceedings of the day to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
audible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for introducing me and giving me such a great platform to express my views. And so, let us start today's session. Good evening, one and all. As we know, we all are here to discuss two topics, and one of mine is resolving learning gaps due to pandemic. And as you know, by all three panelists already spoke about. Like Kalpana ma'am, Khushbu ma'am, Preeti Malhotra ma'am, they have already spoke about the same topic, but I'll try my best not to be in monotonous tone. I'll try to be explain something in a different way. So let us recall with the learning gap concept. So a learning gap is the difference between what a student learned to what student was expected to a certain point. Fine. So after getting the concept, we should know how to identify it. So these gaps can be identified by measuring students' learning criteria through summative assessment or a formative assessment. And we all know what are the summative and formative assessments. So let us recall that also. Summative assessment is a compilation of so many periodic test, quiz, other activities, and graded levels as well. And you know, it's often revealed what the students have learned at the end of the class or the course. And the same way that formative assessment can be used to measure students' learning on a daily basis. This assessment reveal how and what students are learning during the course. So this is the difference between summative and formative assessment. Through this, we can identify the learning gaps. Fine. So here today I'm going to tell you about the types of learning gap. We know that there are some learning gaps due to the pandemic situation. So as we teachers, how can we fill it? So today I'm going to share some my views about what are these gaps and how we teacher can fill it. So I'll talk about the five learning gaps today. And let us start with that knowledge gap first. Fine. So let us understand the concept of knowledge first. What is knowledge gap? Knowledge gap basically just because of lack of information. In that case, when students don't have a right information to achieve the learning outcome or to understand the concept. So like for example, a student cannot able to recall the date of World War First or a consequences. So what will be the solution in this situation? So as teachers, we have to provide them the proper information, the way he or she can get the information. And we can suggest them some strategies, like they can go for library. Just they have to explore the information, and we can give them some research activity so that student can work on it and will get a proper information. And that last one, we can give them some information with that internet assessment as well, so that they will get some right information on the right platform. Fine. So very quickly come for that second gap, that is called a skill gap. So now what is skill gap? So when a students don't know what to do with the given information, whatever the information he or she has. So in that condition, for example, the student know the tables, and he has to attempt the question of multiplication, and still struggling to get that multiplication question. So in that condition, how can we fill it? That we teachers can guide them that what to do with the acquired knowledge or information he she has. So we teachers, we can utilize it, we can tell them how to utilize in a proper way, and let them connect with that skill practice. We can inform that you have to do more and more practice to enhance that skill. Fine. So that they can cover up with that skill gap, and they will know that okay, what is this is these are the right procedure, we can fill out with this gap. I can move forward to the next step. Fine. So let's talk about the next gap. that is called a motivational gap, and is really important in our field. Being teachers, we are the only one who can fill these kind of gaps. For example, like firstly, I'll give you the concept of motivational gap. In that condition, fine, student have a right information, even student have a skill as well to get that position, or to get that the final outcome. But the point is, in that condition, the student is not motivated to achieve the goal. Like for example, that if a mathematical assignment has been given to them, and in that condition they are not believed to complete that they are not believed to complete that task, as they believe itself that they are not good at maths. So they feel that, okay, how can we do that, we are not able to compile it, it's so difficult, it's tricky. So in that condition they require a motivation. So how can we aware it, how can we give them a solution? We can aware them that, what will be the learning outcome. We can show them the big picture after getting the final position, so that they can motivate it. Yes, okay, after that we can get this and this. Okay, we can able to solve out this one also. Okay, the ma'am will appreciate us. Okay, we'll get some appreciation. So in this way, if we teachers can little bit motivate them, we have to realize them what is the significance after when they will complete that final outcome of the project. So in this way we can motivate them, and we can fill it such kind of gaps. Now if we talk about the next gap, that is the environmental gap. This is a very common gap in the pandemic situation. Already my three co-panelists has been discussed, Kalpana ma'am, Khushbu ma'am, and Preeti Mehrotra ma'am also discussed about that. Okay, we do, it's hardly matter, and it's very common that few of the students not able to afford the gadgets, and then not able to go online and all. So in that condition, what we can do it? Fine, we are compiling with the WhatsApp classes also. We are going with that so many Google Meet and Zoom classes also. But due to that condition, if the teacher has given a activity to them, if we teachers have designed some activity which is going to be real based activity, or they have to be if there is a speaking assessment, as we know that ASL as well we are going to conduct online. So if something happened and the student not able to connect with that online situation, what we can do? And this type of situation can be called an environmental gap. So how can we compile it? In that condition, actually only we teachers can help out. We can alter the situation, we can alter the activity, so that we can alter the situation. Fine, either we have to find a substitute of it. Okay, what we can do it for you. So it should be not a compilation, it should not be a compulsion to the student that no, you have to attend in this way only, you have to do. It seems to be a burden to the students. Fine, so in this way we teachers can compile or fill this environmental gap, while after getting the altering the situation. Now last but not the least, the most important gap is a communication gap, and this has really happened in the pandemic situation. And now firstly we have to know what is the communication gap. When students did not get a clear information, and they are not going to be a accurate direction. Fine, they know that what they have to do, but they don't know how to do it and what will be the exact information. So like in that pandemic situation, we have a different scenario. We got a rationalized syllabus, we have a semester exam as well. Still student confused that what we have to do, how to we get that, how to prepare ourselves. In that condition, we teachers have a duty to let them explain first. But before this, we teacher have to master the word. We teachers have to get the proper information. If we are giving a wrong and incomplete information to them, it will be a blunder for them. They will go for the wrong direction. Fine, so in that condition, it's a teacher's task totally, that we have to provide them accurate and a specific information on their comfort level. This is most important. Now here I'm trying to add on the bilingual language concept, because it not matter that we have to explain in English also. Being an English teacher, that it is not a compulsion for me that I'll explain them English only because I'm an English teacher. No, for me, and specifically in my class, I generally prefer the communication should be conveyed to them. Fine, either it can be Hindi, either it can be their own comfort language. Information should be there, so that we can compile the communication gap between the teacher and the student, and they will get a proper information related to that. So in that way, we can compile all such kind of gaps, and will able to give them a comfort situation, so let proceed them. After that, let them free to do it whatever they want to do it. So in this way, they can give their accurate way and will show you the creative world, and surely they will do the blast. And these are the budding kids, and they can do anything else. So that's all for today for my side. I'll try to give a short and precise concept in front of you. Hope you all like it. And over to you, Matthew, sir. Thanks a lot
Thank
once
you.
again.
Thank you, Priti ma'am. And very rightly said, give freedom to the students to choose. A lot of options need to be given. Teachers need to understand first what is being explained. Many of the times the problem arises because the documentation or the process is not clear to the teachers. And then when the communication happens, there is a communication gap. So if you look at the minimum learning outcomes, if across India, probably students are in class 4 and 5, but they don't know how to read and write. Now, whose fault is this? It's a big question, because the thing is that they're going to school, they're passing one class to the other, but in spite of that, this is happening. So
Along with this, sir, I would like to add one line that
sure.
I think common teachers are not so much lucky as we all are here, that we got such like a good mentors like Matthew sir or Ruchi ma'am for the specifically English world. So thank you so much, sir, for providing us such a great platform, and just give them to be mastered over it, and give us to be a right information. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. And that's what our aim is, always to provide information, correct information to the masses. And many of the people who are like-minded are joining hands with us, and that becomes a chain reaction, right? So that's why you are here today, and you are going to continue this process. So thank you, Preeti ma'am, for sharing. So right now, I will be now inviting our next speaker for the day, that is Radhika ma'am, Radhika Goenka ma'am. She is joining us from Delhi itself, and she's a TGT English, Summerfield School, Kailash Colony, New Delhi. So it's over to you, Radhika ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Matthew, sir, for this great, brilliant platform, and All India Education Forum. Educators Forum is actually the best forum for multilingual education and bridging the learning gaps. It is the best example. We can see right now also the current, all the speakers, we all belong to different parts of India. We are coming together, speaking on a common ground. We all have different views. We are coming from different cultures, different languages we speak at home. We are different native speakers, but still we are all connecting so well. So thank you so much, sir. And definitely we are all bridging learning gaps. We are learners first. So we are definitely bridging learning gaps. We are learning from each other. So again, thank you very much, sir. And thank you very much to everyone for sharing such a wonderful knowledge. So I would begin with a quote. To learn a language is to have one more window from which you look at the world. So something which is a very good thing. And as sir just said, that most of us are speaking on the multilingual education. I'm an English teacher, and I just could not bypass this topic, though I feel both these topics are interrelated, because for the last 2 years, most of our children are sitting at home. So they are sitting at home, and that is why, this learning gap is there. And that is why multilingual education is more important right now in the current scenario. Children are very used to the mother tongue. And as ma'am had just quoted some time back, that we have 6,661 mother tongues in India. So when children are at home learning informal language more than formal language, then we just can't take multilingualism away from them. That becomes a foundation. It is definitely a comfort zone for children. It is definitely a cushion for children. So right now, when we are trying to bridge the learning gaps, these things just cannot be avoided. They have to be considered, and they have to be really kept as a focus for all of us being educators. Now, again, if we see, the first thing which I feel as an educator, I feel multilingualism can be promoted mainly because most of the points have been covered. So I will just say my way of, understanding the topic. If we reduce the teacher talk time and we increase the student talk time, it definitely helps in multilinguistic learning. Because when it is peer learning, it is peer understanding, they understand and learn better with each other. The interference of the teacher definitely dominates the class. It definitely makes the class, go in a totally different direction. So sometimes when you leave the children, especially in the current scenario, when you allow the children, especially when the schools are opening slowly, especially in Delhi, we are opening schools, especially for the higher classes, when you let the children be, even if they're speaking in Hindi, obviously the time earlier, like when we were students, we were not allowed to speak in Hindi during an English class. Or when I started my career as an educator, I was specifically told not to use Hindi during my English classes. Yes, we should definitely take care. We should not use Hindi. But if the child is thinking in Hindi, if the child is creative, something in Hindi or his native language, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know. We should allow the child to be free. As a lot of us have mentioned, this freedom, this comfort zone, because the more the child, you know, is allowed to be himself, the more the child learns. So again, as a lot of us have pointed out a lot of things, but I would just, you know, touch upon a few things. Again, I feel if we teach English in their native language, it becomes cost effective. It is definitely more effective, and it integrates their socializing also. I have seen that children enhance their academic performance if they're allowed to learn or, you know, use their own native language or their mother tongue, because again, as we know that mother tongue is the first language which we learn, so maybe it is their comfort language. It definitely creates a very strong peer network for them. It happens with me. It's my own experience. The minute I step out of the class, I see children again mingling and talking in their own language, whatever language it is. Mostly Hindi, because we are in Delhi. So mostly children start speaking in Delhi, and you should see how creatively they come up with ideas and what all they have to discuss, you know. So it's a very nice feeling when we come there. Now, again, you see that they have a sense of security when they're using their own language. It reduces their anxiety and a lot of self-confidence. You can see that positivity in the children, you know, when they are using their own language. Now, again, as a teacher, it's a, you know, it's a difficult task because you can't let them use their own language in a very random manner, because we have to keep this thing under our thing that we are English teachers and they have to learn a language in the right manner. So again, it has to go hand in hand. Maybe we have to have a control over it, but not as if the teacher's controlling the class. Now, I would just like to share a few ways how I conduct a class. If I need to, you know, conduct a class where you know, mother tongue or the multilingualism has to take more of a role. So one thing which I love to do with children is I give them a functional language. So I can always say this is a functional language which we write it on the board or maybe different parts, and we keep pointing out to things. So children know that this is a chair, this is a duster, this is a chalk. So if you give them functional language, at least the base is made. Then another thing which I love to do with my children is realia, because realia is something which everyone can connect to. Suppose I need to teach them something. I'm just giving a random example because I have an orange here on my table. So if I show them orange, so they have a different name for it. We can, even in English, we say orange, santara, kamla nimbu. We have a lot of names for it. And now to teach them reactions, you know, you can make faces, you can do things. So it's very easy for children, you know, to get interested and coming back. Again, another thing which I love doing is role play. Role play is something which children really learn very well. You know, you make them a mother and a child, you make them a teacher and a student. So role play is something which really helps them in picking up a language. Lyrics of songs. I think all children learn the prayer song, whichever the school they belong to. They learn national anthems. They learn so many things. So song lyrics is again something which really helps them to learn the language. Movie quotes. You see, even when you're walking on a roadside, you see these little children. They've not even been to a movie hall or a theater, and they can literally imitate an actor, or maybe, you know, copy the dance steps, or even at times, you know, speak out a dialogue. Maybe they don't know who Amitabh Bachchan is. They've never been to a movie hall, but they know and they can speak Amitabh Bachchan dialogue so well. So these are things which children imitate or learn. So instead of, you know, suppressing them or, you know, killing them, killing these kind of little, you know, initiatives done by them, I think we can enhance on them. Maybe we can actually interpret them or turn them into a more positive way without being too dominating in the class. Again, a multilingual classroom, the atmosphere I feel is more likely to produce children who understand that they have to be equal to someone. That doesn't mean that they're same. You know, being equal does not mean they're same. It is, again, we are all sitting here together. We are discussing a common topic. but that does not mean we are same. We are sharing our ideas, we have different mindsets, we have different ways of teaching, but again we are at the same equal platform because we are again being together with each other. Now again, if we see, multilingualism has been proven to help a child develop a superior reading and writing skills. They have overall better analytical, social, and academic skills than their other peers who just know maybe one language, or maybe they're like totally into one streaming of one language. So that is why we need to actually let the child expose himself, let the child be free, especially during the pandemic times when the child is already curtailed, the child is already pulled back. Children and people, I feel, who learn more than one language, they actually start appreciating more they start appreciating other cultures. They have acceptance to other cultures. They, wherever you leave them in life, they go and they make a niche for themselves. You don't need to guide them. They're already so well aware of everything around them. They're very sensitive, they're empathetic, they can control themselves, and they can actually take care of their surroundings also. So I feel again that we have to take both these topics as interrelated, because just this scenario has snapped out children from their formal education, from their formal learning. So both these need to go hand in hand for a child's development, overall development, and a growth. So in the end, I would like to quote Flora Lewis: learning another language is not only learning different words for the same thing, but learning another way to think about things. Thank you so much. And thank you, Matthew, sir, once again for giving us this lovely platform. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Radhika ma'am. That was really great sharing. So we are really hopeful that you will conduct a few sessions in the coming months on this, because I'm sure you had a lot of more to say, but unfortunately, due to lack of time, we are have to curtail whatever we want to say. But it was a great share. So very, very positive comments also we are getting on our live chat. Unfortunately, I'm not able to put all of them, but I'm sure that when you replay this, you will be able to read the appreciation that you have received during your presentation. So thank you, Radhika ma'am, once more.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
There are great, as Shamla ma'am is saying, well knitted, and we have Nina telling about the quotes that you have did, the functional language, lyrics of song, role play, and changes the dynamics of the classroom. So thank you so much for the sharing so many interesting ways which children can imitate and as well as improvise, as Shavla ma'am says. So thank you so much. And we move on to our next speaker who has joined us, and that is Parminder Kaur Sehra ma'am. She is joining us again from Delhi, and she is a PGT Commerce in Guru Harikishan Public School, Fatehnagar, New Delhi. So Parminder ma'am, it's over to you.
Good evening, all of you. Good evening, sir. Thank you for offering such a good platform to discuss everything that we want to. We want to share whatever we want to share. We can share it freely here. And I'm learning a lot today. And a lot of you are sharing such a good views. A lot of you are expressing it so well. I think most of the points are being covered. Anyway, I would like to talk about today about resolving learning gaps due to pandemic. So my today's topic is resolving learning gaps. Being an accountancy teacher, I also face a lot of problems because my topic is technical, and how to teach a child about the journal entries, how to teach a child about ledger. These are the problems which I face in my day-to-day life whenever I teach in the class, and especially with my class 11, because in 10th standard also they were sitting at home and they were learning online, and suddenly they were in class 11 without giving any formal examination in the school. They have appeared online, and because of that they are in 11th standard, and same process they are following in class 11th also. So it was very difficult for me to tell them about the basics of accountancy in the beginning, but I use certain ways and means to help them to follow the rules, debit and credit rules of ledger, and whatever different ways of formation of whatever different ways of depicting the accountancy was there. I use different platforms. I use Nearpod, I use Wacom tablet. Since I'm an accountancy teacher, so I have to explain each and every each and every equation, topic, question in a live session. I cannot do like that. I will show the PPT and I will explain them the PPT, and it will be easy for them to understand the topic. What I have done, I have purchased Wacom tablet. I have used OneNote. OneNote is a platform in which you can write the way you are writing on the blackboard. Wacom tablet is a tablet with a pen, and it's like a tab. Whenever you will write on this, it will appear on the OneNote with the help of laptop. So it was easy for me to resolve that learning gap. I used to give them this different PPTs on different topics. The students used to make different PPTs on different topics, and then I used to give them time to explain that particular PPT of the topic that they have prepared among the students. And that I have done in a small group, not in a whole class of 40, 45. I have a student of 55 students in my class, in class 12, and in class 11th, I have 45 students. But what I have done on, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, suppose Monday to Friday, I'm teaching them a topic, I'm asking them about it, I'm recapping the topic. What I used to do, I used to divide the class into small groups. I used to give them a topic, different topics to those small groups. I used them to prepare a PPT on that, recorded PPT either, or they can express in the live session. They used to present me the screen, they used to explain me that particular topic. This is how I help them to resolve the gaps which they are facing. And secondly, I use the platform of Nearpod. Nearpod, I think most of you must be aware of. Nearpod, it is also an interactive platform in which a teacher can also prepare their own PPTs. Teacher can also prepare their interactive sessions through Nearpod. They can share a link and they can enroll the students. Whatever questions are there, they can do it online at that time only. So if some topics are difficult, you can use that platform to help them to get the grasp on that topic easily. And Padlet, and that too I have used while doing teaching. Suppose I have taught them a topic, I have two classes simultaneously. In one class, I have taught them a topic, and in the next class, I use a Padlet for the same topic. I gave them a question, I asked them to solve it, I asked them to share it in the live session. Padlet can also be done in a live session. That is like a interactive board. The way we have in the school boards are there, in the classroom boards are there, or the boards outside the school, outside the classroom, in which students put the charts and students put the quotations. It is like an online board, interactive board, which the students can express themselves. They can write down anything, they can put an image, they can put a PPT, whatever they want to, related to the topic which I have given them. And then there were problem with certain students. What I have done, I have created a Google form for them. I shared with them. I asked them to tell whatever doubts they have in a particular topic. Then I compiled that information. I created groups on the basis of that. Suppose they were having a problem in journal entries. I have created a small group of that, those students only who were having a problem in journal entries. So what I did, they were having a problem in journal entries. I have compiled these small groups. Then we started taking classes one-to-one basis during my breaks and during my Saturdays and Sundays, as per the convenience of the child. If the child was comfortable at the time, whatever time has been allotted by me to them, I've taken that time, or whatever time the child wanted me to have, I have allotted that time. According to the convenience of the child, I have used these platforms. Secondly, I have interacted with them one-to-one, as I do a lot. I talk to, as a ma'am said, one of the speakers said in this platform only, interaction is very important. I have talked to them one-to-one, and off and on, I give them a time, 10 to 15 minutes in a week. At least they can express themselves. They are able to talk whatever they want to. They have a full freedom to express themselves. I keep on motivating them. I'll use a lot of educational videos, animated videos to explain my topics, which is very easy for them to understand and to overcome the learning gaps. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Parminder ma'am, for bringing about the boards and the online tools that you are sharing with the students. I think kudos to all the educators who adapted so fast to the online portal, because if you ask me 2 years back, many of us didn't even know how to prepare a PowerPoint, or how to conduct meetings on Zoom. Forget about live sessions. So this is, I think we have also come a great way in understanding this. So the teachers have been the greatest learners, in fact. So unless we
Thank you
learn,
so
we
much, sir.
cannot
Thank
teach.
you.
So thank you, Parminder ma'am, for sharing all what you
Thank
did.
you so much.
And
Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So moving on to our next speaker for the day. So we have Shikha Bahal ma'am, who's a PRT, Hamdard Public School, New Delhi. Shikha ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. My topic is resolving learning gaps due to pandemic. I know lots have been said here, but I will be grateful if you hear my views also. The COVID pandemic has changed education forever. The learning gaps have widened, and it's our now, being the teachers, now we have the responsibility to bridge those gaps. And we all know we are not going to return to the same world which was before this pandemic, and reducing the learning gaps is a big mission for us which we have to take over. Now we have a scenario where we have online and online classes going on side by side. Our approaches can be a bit different or similar, but we have to move hand in hand with this blended process and try to bridge the learning gap in both these situations. We must take into account the extent of change which has taken place in the education sector because of the pandemic in the past few months, the resources available to us, and the actual ground reality available to us. We have to remain positive in this critical situation, and we have to spread hope that we can find solutions and work together to bridge the learning gaps which had taken place due to pandemic. Now I would like to share some strategies which can be undertaken to bridge the learning gaps. Number one, we can prepare an assessment based on the minimum desired learning outcomes required at a particular grade level. We can assess where our learners stand, how much learning loss has taken place, or how much progress they have made in learning so far. Secondly, on the basis of this assessment, we have to provide remedial education in the areas where they lag behind. We have to see that they are clear in their basic concepts in the core subjects. We have to take into account the reading, writing, speaking, listening skills. And here we may have to allot extra period of time for such remedial classes. We may have to prepare special modules, worksheets, assignments, which may target at achieving the desired learning outcomes. The schools may have to alter their academic calendar to adjust for the loss of school days due to pandemic. The schools must reframe their curriculum for few months so that we are able to achieve the minimum desired learning outcomes, and we are able to build the interest of the child in the studies, which has been lost due to pandemic, which we can see every day in our classes. Now basically we are here preparing the child for the next grade with the minimum entry level outcomes, and thus we are trying to bridge the gap. Now here, third point I would like to say that we know that the children are using their senses to learn. So now we have to make use of some activities like hands-on activity, art integrated activity. We have to make learning fun for them, and we have to use technology here so that learning is fun for them and they are self-motivated to learn more and to acquire knowledge. Now, activity-based learning will help us to impart the desired skills and knowledge to our students, and it will help us to bridge the learning gaps. Now, fourthly, the teacher has to build a friendly rapport with her students. She has to develop a bond, a connection with her students. She must try to reach to all her students. We have to understand that in this pandemic period has been equally stressful and unimaginable for our students too. They need more of our love, affection, emotional support, and care. We have to develop confidence in them for us. We should try to reach to each of our child and understand him or her and talk to them and their families regularly. We have to pass the message to the child, yes, I am here for you. Next, we have before us a huge number of dropouts too, which may be due to the lack of digital facility for the online classes, or due to economic issues in the family, or due to gender inequality, or any other issue. So now we must try to contact such students, try to reach to them, and motivate them to be an active participant in the teaching learning process. We have to encourage re-enrollment, gather community help at large to support learning at home by distributing books and digital devices where possible. We have to design and we have to be the part of new methods to facilitate distance learning, including radio and TV education broadcasting wherever the internet facility is not available. Sixth, we have to work on our teachers too. They are the other side of the coin. Without their support, the learning gaps can never be resolved. The teachers have to be prepared and trained to improve their digital skills, to identify those students needing their support, and to adjust and mold their instructions in such a way that the learning gaps are bridged. Next, we cannot forget the most important pillar in our teaching learning process, that is the parents. The parents have played much important role in the pandemic and facilitated the learning processes with the school. Now, again, we must utilize their support in bridging the gaps which have come in the learning of their child. Lastly, now, as we all say that learning involves overall development of the child, holistic development of the child, then I see the gap in learning and following of the values by the students. Honesty, hard work, truthfulness, respect for elders, mannerism, etc. are getting diminished more these days. The students do Google search of the answers. They pass on the answers via mobile to their friends, or they're cheating in the online classes. All these have to be addressed, and we have to set examples before our students, and we have to see that we are able to build a value system in our students. Plus, we have to understand that our students have lived in complete isolation for these 1.5 years. They have been only interacting with their parents. Now we have to build on their communication skills also. So when they return to us, so we have to build their communication skills also. The end, I would like to say that progress lost takes years to regain. So we have to make all our efforts to reduce the learning gap of the children and to reconnect them with them. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shika ma'am. And thanks for bringing in the ethics and the moral values that we need to develop in our kids. It is very true that during the online we saw that we got excellent results. It's not because of the excellent teaching of the teachers, nor have the students' brain developed. It's just because, of the other sources that they have. So the ethics or the moral value. So I remember a parent coming to my class and seeing the report of his son. And the first thing that he said that I'm not going to look at the marks. I'm going to see the other aspects. So, we used to give these grades, punctuality, discipline, uniform, and all that. So he was more happy to see those grades that all are A+. So, that is what the parents need to, develop in their kids, that it is nice to be honest. It's nice to be empathetic to other human beings. It's nice to be tolerant, respectful. So the emotional aspects and the moral issues also has to be developed in our students, especially the young generation who feels that to achieve something, you have to put down the others, which is not true. We can all grow together. So thank you, Shika ma'am, for your words of wisdom and bringing out new aspects in learning. Thank you so much. Now I'll invite Sonali Sharma ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So I will invite Sonali Sharma ma'am, who is joining us from Agra, PRT, from Army Public School, Agra, right? So, welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, Matthew, sir. I think I am clearly audible to all.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, sir, once again, and all my fellow colleagues, those who have already given their views on both the topics multilingualism and resolving learning gaps. I think already you people have covered all the complete topic completely, and we educators, we all are dealing with these situations. So my today's topic is how to resolve learning gap due to this pandemic. So before coming to the topic, I want to start my topic with a simple quote given by the Benjamin Franklin that tell me and I forgot, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. Why I said this quote? Just because this kind of situation we are dealing in the classroom nowadays, because I will talk about the real time situation, what exactly I'm facing as the schools are already open now, and uh, it is children are coming in alternate days, and we are facing many challenges. Like as I'm dealing in PRT, I'm dealing in the primary classes, I can see the children are coming, but they are still in a confusing state. They are very confused. They, even some of the children are not understanding that they are coming to school, because in class 1 or 2 children are coming directly. They are coming directly. They never studied before in any other class. Only the play group they studied, or some of them were still not studied in that. So they are thinking that they are coming for school like just for fun, and also they do not understand what they actually have to do. उनको क्या करना चाहिए वो, why they are coming to school. Some are understanding, but they're still facing problem, because they have not understand up to the mark what actually they have to understand this grade or up according to their level. So before talking about the resolving, I'll just give a short brief about what is actually learning gap. Learning gap is actually the situation where what we are expecting from the children at their particular grade or their particular age, but they are not up to that age. They are not understanding. They are not understanding their concepts are still not clear according to their age group or according to their grades. Syllabus is also a challenge for us. It is a challenge even for the students also, for educators as well as for the students. टीचर्स का इशू है कि उनको सिलेबस भी कवर करना है और बच्चों को वो सिचुएशन भी प्रोवाइड करनी है, वहां तक लेवल तक लेकर भी आना है. और बच्चों का इशू ये है कि उनको पिछला ही नहीं समझ आया है अभी तक. बहुत बेहतर
Yeah, I think Sonali ma'am has lost her connection. This is a problem that comes. I think she is not here. She has lost. If she is joining back, then we'll try to accommodate her. So we are going to move ahead with Tanya ma'am is here.
Very good.
Yeah. So Tanya, I'll request you to start because I think ma'am has lost her connection. Yeah.
A very good evening to one and all the educators and learners. Before sharing my views, I would like to share a quote. Language is power, life, and the instrument of culture, the instrument of domination and liberation. See the two words domination and liberation. Language has the power. Either it can dominate or it can liberate you, your views, and your ideas. So, to communicate or to share our ideas with others, we require a medium, and one such medium is language. What's the point of sharing ideas or teaching concepts to the children in such a manner that you cannot involve them completely, right? If you're preparing your activity by burning the midnight lamp, and the students are participating half-heartedly because they were not given instructions properly, or there was a gap between the instructions due to some language barrier, right? So it is very much important that we give them instructions clearly and carefully. Before going down the teaching lane, it's our duty to understand the scenario, to know the common languages beforehand, right? Or else it's going to be like a show without the background. Would you like to enjoy, would you enjoy the show or any play of which you have zero idea about? So it is very much important to understand their scenario, to know them completely before you go for the for teaching further ahead. So it is very much important. Like Kamlavali ma'am told that there is cognitive development. Learning पक्का होना चाहिए, बहुत जरूरी है, right? Common language that we should use, that the children that they understand it. Instead of that, if we keep on imposing them different language, any foreign language, it is simply like mugging up. It's simply like cramming the concepts rather than understanding, right? And moreover, there are two other aspects also, affective and kinesthetic. There are other two aspects that we always leave behind. Affective means emotionally connecting to the child, to the student. I'll give you an example. Suppose, like we used to travel before Corona, we were all traveling here and there. We all had been on a train. We all had a traveling experience. We always tend to talk to other passengers also, our co-passengers. And if we hear the story, oh, you are from there, we instantly connect to them if they are from our birthplace or any known ones live there. We instantly connect to them. So emotional concept, it is very much important when you connect to your children emotionally. Then kinesthetic, the motor skills, hands, how they will go with the kinesthetic skills if the instructions are not given clearly, if the instructions are not in their medium of language that they understand, that their parents understand. Right now we are dealing with online learning, though children are coming offline as well, blended learning, right? But earlier also there were online children, and parents, the key, they were acting as the teachers, counselors, their principal, their administration, everything, each and every part, right? So we need to understand that how we are communicating. Internet effects, right? There are gaps. These, as Radhika ma'am also said, that the concept of multilingual education and the learning gaps, they are interrelated. And that is very true. They are interrelated, right? Learning gaps take place especially with the help of your medium of language you are using, right? If the instructions are clear, well and good. If the material is there, whether the resources are there or not, we need to understand that also. Can, in the COVID scenario, we all know there are red zones, blue zone, orange zone, green zone. Is the resources available? Will the children be able to do it? That is also very important. We need to take care of, as a teacher, we need to take care of these things. We are a stakeholder. Yes, there are three stakeholders: children, us teachers, and the administration, right? So we need to take care of this thing as well, whether the resources are available with them or not. How can we help the child? There was one idea that was formed, that if the child is not having a device, sibling issue, we all have faced in our classes, that there is a sibling issue, same timing, different schools, or there is a paper going on of the brother, how will the child come in the class and attend your class? Sibling issues too happened, right? So the main thing that happened, the idea that was given to the parents was, it's okay, you're working, you cannot provide the devices. How many devices you can purchase? Being a parent, as a parent, think of it yourself, how many devices a parent can purchase, right? And so the idea, the example was that, so basically we gave an idea that the children who are living in the same neighborhood, same classes, they can attend from different sections. That is well and good, because they're learning the same concepts, right? As a co-teachers, we always discuss about the lesson plans, our theories, our practicals, ideas, everything is pre-designed. So if the child is learning from the different section, and that's fine, that is completely fine, that should be completely acceptable, right? Moreover, I would say that many a times you even interact with your with the parents of the child. some of the teachers sometimes speak rudely, or sometimes the teachers become so strict to the language that English means English. We have a standard, ma'am. We have a standard in the school. That cannot, you should avoid that, because the parents who are not educated, they are providing the education to their child with the idea that they want to give the opportunity to the child. They want them to grow, which which their opportunities they were left out with. They are giving the child. So children are coming to, to be educated rather than being on a standard form. So that idea should be kept in mind always and always. Come down to earth while teaching. It is very much important rather than maintaining your standards. Always calm down. Keep yourself grounded. Keep yourself humble. Right? And moreover, language can act as a barrier and as one of the most important teaching aid. It depends on the teacher how you use it. It completely depends on you how you use it. Moreover, I want to say that yes, Government of India, the Education Ministry has emphasized on the mother tongue. As Kamlavani ma'am also told, that mother tongue is very much important, in which you should introduce your concept, introduce yourself. Let the child introduce himself or herself on the very first day when he or she is talking to you. It's okay. Relax them up. Right? They're coming from home. They are not completely learned. They're not coming completely learned, or as a soldier. Yes, we are going to school. We are completely packed up. Like we know we have complete knowledge that we gained online. No, we need to take care of that, right? And we can introduce foreign language. Yes, it is very much important. It is true that students must know one international language so that it becomes easy for himself or herself in the further coming years. This is the age, the primary age, we say 3 to 8 or 3 to 6. We say that students have the zeal to learn. They want to learn every day something new, but in an exciting manner. We need to create that excitement in them. Right? We need to take the methods through which excitement can be created. As a teacher myself, I too tell them how do we connect them is basically, if I have to teach them any new language, like English is going on, if I want to raise their level of vocabulary, so how can it be done? It can be done with the keywords that are very much important. Students will make sentences out of it. They will have helping verbs. They will be having some trouble. But the keywords that they learn, according to me, are very helpful. See, I told them earlier, Dussehra time, it was there. And they were like, okay, Ravan ke putlu ko kya kehte hain English mein? What does it say? They were like, doll. They literally said me, ma'am, is it called doll? Then I told them, you must have seen in newspaper very clearly, effigy is the given word, right? So through which you can easily teach them. These things can be taught them, and they in an interesting way. Like Radhika ma'am also told us that role play, very good, very nice. I told them about my childhood stories in English, and I tell them also to express their views. Try to speak in English. I always tell them to say try. I do not impose them, you have to speak English. I just say try. So the word try itself says that the child is being encouraged, right? Motivation can be outside and inner also, right? We need to take care of that thing as well. We need to create inner motivation also. Child cannot be always around you. Always, you cannot surround the child with the elders always. No, inner motivation has to be also created. That is very much important. And as I said, I know I diverted a little bit from the topic, but I would say that it is very much important if we connect to the through the language to the children, be it first of all mother tongue, be the regional language that they have been using earlier, right? It will help them also and help you also to understand their views, राइट? वो गलत सलत इंग्लिश बोलेगा, इससे अच्छा वो क्या बोल रहा है मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा। तो उससे अच्छा तो यही है ना कि allow him to express himself, so which is very important. So thank you so much. These were my ideas and opinions. I hope you like it. Being I'm not so experienced, but being in an experienced environment, I felt I have learned a lot today in this session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya ma'am, for your sharing. And you brought in so many points which others had not brought in. So there were new dimensions to it. So thank you so much for that. And just to conclude, we had lost Sonia ma'am. I think again there is a problem. Yeah, she's there now. So we'll conclude with Sonali. Sonali ma'am, if you are able to speak to us, you can probably conclude, and then we are concluding the program. Yeah. So whatever you want to
Yes,
say,
sir.
you could
Yes,
probably
sir.
conclude. Yeah.
Yeah. Very sorry. There was some internet issues. Yeah. Matthew sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Really sorry for some internet issues. I feel bad. I was
No
talking on
problem,
the
ma'am.
topic.
Please go ahead.
And,
No
okay.
problem. Just go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So once again, I'll start my topic. That today's topic, I want to take a topic: how to resolve the learning gaps due to pandemic. So as I'm a PRT teacher and I'm still struggling with the same issues and many challenges regarding this. So nowadays the children are coming and they are coming alternate days. Some of the children are at the state, but they are not understanding. They are very, very confused why they are coming to school. Some even are not understanding. Some are understanding, but they don't know what to study, where they are at what stage they are in the curriculum. Syllabus is also a challenge. So I will directly talk to some facts about, according to the Times of India article I read, and there around 280 million students are affected because of this pandemic, especially in rural areas. This problem actually moreover, the problem was in rural area, where was the device was not available, or otherwise the device is there. For online classes, device was there, but 2 or 3 children are there who are engaging with the same device, who are struggling with the same device. Parents are not very much educated. They don't know how to conduct the online classes. Even I've seen these issues in my school also. Some students, parents were in the rural areas, they were in village, and they said, ma'am, we are not able to connect through internet, and we are not able to conduct smooth conduction of the online classes. So these were the problems that we were facing during online classes, and now the children are coming and they were facing these problems, these issues. Even in metro cities, this struggle was little minimized, where students have the proper internet connection and the proper smooth conduction of the online classes. We can say this era is a digital divide. There is a big digital divide, because especially in middle class and upper class students also. Some upper class students were benefited, but those who are from economically weaker section, they were most affected because of this situation. So वहां पर बहुत ज्यादा उनके जो क्लासेस हैं वो सक्सेसफुल नहीं रहे हैं, या कुछ सिचुएशन में रहे भी हैं तो उन्होंने उतना ज्यादा अचीव नहीं किया जितना एक्चुअली बच्चों को उनके लेवल पे करना चाहिए था. सो नाउ वी विल टॉक अबाउट I will directly talk about the strategies or the planning which educators can do. So how to fill the in the children, like what kind of problems children are facing, how we can diagnose these learning gaps. We can diagnose these learning gaps through various kind of assessment. We can assess a student and get to know how where they are struggling on, or in which particular subject they are struggling, like in mathematics or in Hindi or in English, how they are struggling on where. So like assessments हम ले सकते हैं, उनके different quiz वगैरह हम लेके उनको assess कर सकते हैं. Different kind of assessment के through हम इसको issue situation, इस problem को diagnose कर सकते हैं. उसके बाद दूसरी चीज जो हमको उनको देनी होगी वो होगी personalized attention. Personalized attention हमें हर student को देना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अभी जो students हैं वो minimum number में आ रहे हैं. alternate days में आ रहे हैं, तो it is easy for teacher, easy for educator to provide them personal attention. Teachers can provide them personal attention. They can get to know what are their problems. Each and individual child, उनको अलग से वो स्पेशली उनको डील करें, अलग से डील करें. उसके अलावा एक और चीज सबसे बड़ी जो हम फेस कर रहे हैं या जो देख रहे हैं वो ये है कि बच्चों का इमोशनल बैकग्राउंड भी बहुत ज्यादा वीक है. लाइक बहुत सारे फैमिलीज में इस तरीके की कैजुअलिटीज रही हुई है ड्यू टू दिस पेंडेमिक. इस तरीके की सिचुएशन आई है कि बच्चों को उसकी वजह से बहुत इमोशनल ट्रॉमा वीक फेस करना पड़ा है. दे आर इमोशनली वेरी वीक. तो टीचर नीड टू कनेक्ट विद दीज चिल्ड्रन इमोशनल. उनको इमोशनल बॉन्ड क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा, उनके साथ बातचीत करके, उनके सिचुएशन को समझ के, उनके फैमिली बैकग्राउंड्स को समझ के, उनके बारे में जानकर कि आपकी क्या सिचुएशन है, क्या प्रॉब्लम है. हर बच्चे की एक अलग सिचुएशन रही है इन कोविड के टाइम पे. तो उनके फैमिली जो प्रॉब्लम्स रही हैं उनको अंडरस्टैंड करके उनको अपने लेवल पे रिजॉल्व करना पड़ेगा. हर बच्चे के लिए पर्सनल इंटरव्यू सेक्शन रखना पड़ेगा, तभी हम इन सिचुएशंस को, इस लर्निंग गैप को फिल कर पाएंगे. तो ये सारी चीजें. उसके अलावा नाउ व्हाट एक्चुअली टीचर्स एक्सपेक्टेशंस को रिड्यूस करना पड़ेगा. लाइक व्हाट टीचर्स आर एक्सपेक्टिंग, बिकॉज सिलेबस इज, करिकुलम इज आल्सो अ चैलेंज. तो टीचर के साथ भी ये प्रेशर होता है कि उसको एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम में उस सिलेबस को कंप्लीट करना पड़ता है. लेकिन यहाँ पे टीचर को एक्सपेक्टेशंस को रिड्यूस करना पड़ेगा, उनके साथ स्लो चलना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा ज्यादा ध्यान देना पड़ेगा बच्चों पे, जानना पड़ेगा कि उनकी एक्चुअल प्रॉब्लम्स क्या हैं और उसके उनके अकॉर्डिंग उनसे बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपेक्टेशंस ना रखें. उनको शॉर्ट टाइम क्विज दें, शॉर्ट टाइम क्वेश्चनेयर दें, ताकि वो पता चले कि वो क्या कर सकते हैं. और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे मोटिवेट करें. स्टूडेंट्स को मोटिवेशन की बहुत जरूरत है, क्योंकि ऐसा देखा जा रहा है कि स्टूडेंट्स जब अब आ रहे हैं स्कूल में तो उनके साथ दो तरीके की सिचुएशन रही है. दो तरीके की सिचुएशन मैं ये कहूंगी कि या तो स्टूडेंट्स बहुत ज्यादा इग्नोर रहे हैं घर में, क्योंकि फैमिली प्रॉब्लम्स और फैमिली सिचुएशन इस तरीके की थी पेंडेमिक के दौरान कि उनके ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा ध्यान नहीं दिया गया, बहुत ज्यादा इग्नोर हो गए, या फिर ओवर पैम्पर्ड भी हो गए. पेरेंट्स ने पूरा फुल टाइम उनको स्क्रीन यूज करने के लिए दिया, उसके अकॉर्डिंग ने बहुत ज्यादा स्क्रीन टाइम यूज किया. लेकिन जरूरी नहीं है कि वो स्क्रीन टाइम स्कूल के लिए ही या ऑनलाइन क्लासेस से रिलेटेड ही यूज किया गया हो. 9th-10th क्लासेस में या सीनियर क्लासेस में ये देखने में क्या है कि बच्चों ने उसको अपने लेवल से यूज किया, अपने अकॉर्डिंग उसको इस्तेमाल किया. तो ये दो तरीके की सिचुएशन रही है. हालांकि इंटरनेट या मैं कहूंगी कि ऑनलाइन क्लासेस जो है वो एक बून है स्टूडेंट्स के लिए. इतना सारा कंटेंट है जहां से वो बहुत अच्छे से जान सकते हैं, लेकिन उसका प्रॉपर यूज कई मायनों में हो पाया है और कई मायनों में नहीं हो पाया है. तो वो सिचुएशन भी एक लर्निंग गैप को क्रिएट करती है. तो टीचर्स को और एडुकेटर्स को उस लर्निंग गैप को फिल करने के लिए स्टूडेंट्स को पर्सनल अटेंशन देना पड़ेगा, उनके साथ बहुत फ्लेक्सिबल होना पड़ेगा, उनकी सिचुएशन को कंसिडर करके उनको उसी लेवल से लेके जाना होगा. लाइक जो भी लेवल है, एक क्लास में हर बच्चे का अलग अलग लेवल हो सकता है. कुछ बच्चों को बिल्कुल बेसिक से शुरू करना पड़ेगा और उसके लिए टीचर को उनके साथ बहुत ज्यादा टाइम स्पेंड भी करना पड़ सकता है. एडुकेटर्स ही इस सिचुएशन के साथ बेस्ट डीलिंग कर सकते हैं. दो ही लोगों को हमारे सोसाइटी में सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस दी जाती है, एक डॉक्टर और एक एजुकेटर. उन दोनों को सबसे ज्यादा वैल्यू दी जाती है कि वो दोनों ही चेंजेस बहुत ज्यादा, डॉक्टर्स बहुत ज्यादा लाइफ सेवर्स कहे जाते हैं और एडुकेटर्स को हम लाइफ चेंजर्स कहते हैं. तो एडुकेटर्स कैन डू दिस ओनली. एक बहुत बड़ी कमान टीचर्स के हाथ में है कि अब जब पेंडेमिक के बाद जब सिचुएशन न्यू नॉर्मल होने जा रही है, तो टीचर्स को सिचुएशन के साथ डील करना है, चैलेंजेस को फेस करना है. उसके अलावा टीचर्स की पर्सनल चैलेंजेस भी बहुत है. जैसे कि पेंडेमिक के दौरान जब ऑनलाइन क्लासेस रही हैं तो टीचर्स ने 16 आवर्स 17 आवर्स भी वर्क किया है, उसके लिए सीखा है. बहुत सारे टीचर्स दे वर नॉट वेरी गुड, though I can take my example. I was not very good in conducting online classes, or we're not very good in these apps and all. But yes, of course, I tried a lot, I learned a lot, and then now I am able to conduct these things. वेरी स्मूथली. सो तो ये तरीके के जो चैलेंजेस रहे टीचर्स को, जितना उन्होंने, मैं कहूंगी कि योगदान अपना ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में दिया है, ऑफलाइन क्लासेस में भी अब उनको उतना ही कंट्रीब्यूट करना पड़ेगा, उतना ही टाइम स्पेंड करना पड़ेगा, और थोड़ा ज्यादा भी देना पड़ सकता है कई बार इसके लिए, ताकि बच्चों को वो बहुत ज्यादा अपने लेवल पे उनको ऊपर लेकर आ सके, उनका स्टैंडर्ड, उनका लेवल अप कर सके, उनकी जो सिचुएशन है उसको कवर अप कर सके, जो गैप्स हैं, लर्निंग गैप्स हैं, उसको कवर अप कर सके. बाकी बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स, बहुत सारे मेरे फेलो कलीग्स ने इतने अच्छे पॉइंट्स ऑलरेडी रख दिए हैं यहाँ पे, जिसमें उन्होंने बताया है कि किस तरीके से समेटिव और फॉर्मेटिव असेसमेंट लेकर हम बच्चों को जज कर सकते हैं, उनको उनके जो लर्निंग गैप्स हैं उनको फिल कर सकते हैं. उसके अलावा उनको बैंडेज लर्निंग मैं इस चीज को कहूंगी कि बैंडेज लर्निंग लाइक ऑलरेडी वो टॉपिक अगर कवर कर चुके हैं, वो सारे आप सिलेबस को हम कवर कर चुके हैं ऑनलाइन, तो नाउ द चिल्ड्रन आर कमिंग ऑफलाइन, तो उनको फिर से वो सिलेबस को आप पूरा नहीं कर सकते हैं या बहुत ज्यादा उसको दोबारा रिवाइज नहीं कर सकते, तो बच्चों के लिए बैंडेज लर्निंग कर सकते हैं. लाइक जहां पे उनके गैप्स आ रहे हैं, जो पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक वो अंडरस्टैंड नहीं कर पा रहे, वो पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक को वो लेके उनको फिर से एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं, फिर से समझा सकते हैं. ऑफलाइन एक्टिविटीज को कंडक्ट कर सकते हैं बहुत सारे. लेट्स इन्वॉल्व विद देम, प्ले विद देम, so that they can learn, engage with them in other things, engage with them in the school activities, ताकि वो अपना जो भी उनका सिचुएशन रहा है उसको थोड़ा ट्राई करें चेंज करने की, बिकॉज बहुत मोनोटाइज भी हो गए हैं बच्चे इन सिचुएशन में, इस पैंडेमिक के दौरान. तो उस मोनेटाइजेशन से वो बाहर निकले, वो मोनेटिज्म से वो बाहर निकले, सबके साथ मिंगल हो, कोशिश करें, उनको ग्रुप्स में इन्वॉल्व करने के हम कोशिश कर सकते हैं. बहुत सारी चीजें उनके साथ एक्टिविटीज कर सकते हैं हम बच्चों के साथ, और मैं उनको मेंटल हीलिंग देना, सोशल इमोशनल बॉन्ड उनके साथ क्रिएट करें, सो दैट दे कैन मिंगल विद यू. स्टूडेंट्स बहुत आसानी से टीचर्स के साथ मिंगल हो जाते हैं, या बहुत आसानी से वो उनके साथ अपनी चीजों को शेयर करते हैं. स्पेशली छोटे बच्चे, जब हम उनके साथ इंटरेक्ट करते हैं तो वो अपने पर्सनल इश्यूज आके टीचर्स को जरूर बताते हैं. आई थिंक मेरे फेलो कलीग्स इस बात से अग्री करते होंगे कि बच्चे उनके पास आते हैं और अपने इश्यूज उनके साथ डिस्कस करते हैं. बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है बच्चों को हील करने की, उनके जो इसका जो नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट बच्चों के ऊपर पेंडेमिक का आया है उसको रिजॉल्व करने की. तो जब हम इन सारे चीजों को रिजॉल्व कर पाएंगे, जब उनके साथ इमोशनल बॉन्ड क्रिएट कर पाएंगे, जब उनके साथ उनकी मेंटल हीलिंग कर पाएंगे, जब उनको एंगेज कर पाएंगे एक्टिविटीज में, उनको एक फ्रूटफुल एटमॉस्फेयर दे पाएंगे, तो उसके बाद तब एकेडमिक को लेके हम अगर काम करें तो आई थिंक कुछ और समय बिताना पड़ेगा इसके ऊपर. उसके बाद बच्चे जब एक बार वापस से एक ट्रैक पे आ जाएंगे तो उसके साथ उनको फिर एकेडमिकली इम्प्रूव करना बहुत ज्यादा इजी हो जाएगा. और आई थिंक मैं अपने ओरिजिनल व्यूज मैंने शेयर किए हैं, विच आई एम फेसिंग इन माई nowadays I'm facing with my children, I'm dealing with my children. There's nothing like that copied or something like that. It's a real time situation what actually I'm facing. So that these are all things I think I have shared from my side. So now I will like to sum up my this topic with a quote. There are no learning gaps in children, only the opportunities gap. We should provide them opportunities to close these learning gaps, and these learning gaps will automatically close. So provide the opportunities to children. And thank you very much, Matthew sir, providing me this platform. It was a very, very new experience for me, and I was quite nervous 2 or 3 days before, but being a mentor, you are a wonderful person who energized each and every one. Komawali ma'am is here. All the teachers are very much experienced and very much learned than me. I am a very new in this. So thank you very much, sir. Once again, thank you very much. All the passionate teachers who listen me very, very patiently. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonali ma'am. And we could see the energy levels in you. So, I mean, you spoke from your heart, and very well concluded, in fact, that we need to give opportunities to our students. There are no learning gaps. So, opportunities, when we give, the learning gaps will be reduced. So, on that note, wonderful note, we conclude today's wonderful webinar. Thank you, all the panelists, for staying for more than 3+ hours. So we are almost going to be 8:15. So 3 hours, 15 minutes. So thank you so much, and have a good night. And thank you. I want to sincerely thank all the people who joined this webinar for such a long time. And see, Shamla ma'am is still there, encouraging all the participants. That takes courage, and that shows the passion towards encouragement, and that's what is important for us also. So thank you, Shamla ma'am. Thank you, all the speakers. Thank you, all the audience who was right there from 5 o'clock to about 8:15 right now. So till we meet for the next session. So it's good night from all of us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.